Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Trinity Series Season 2, Week number 1. Today is Day 2 of the first week, and we couldn't be more excited to bring you more games. And, of course, Trinity Series brought to you by ESL, Intel, and Twitch. My name is Frodan, and I am joined at the desk by Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora. Hey. And together, we're going to close out the week with the other half of matches as we get to see the inaugural kickoff week and find out what teams are going to get the early lead here in the most epic of team leagues in Hearthstone.
It is quite ridiculous. And yesterday, Misfits
Heroes of Warcraft.
They dropped that part,
which is no longer part of the title.
Yeah.
Continue.
Misfits put on a clinic yesterday. They finished their match 6-2. They went 5-0 with Murloc Paladin. It's a throwback to Trinity Series 1. Where Murloc Paladin opened up the week and was dominant, seemingly shaped the metagame for weeks to come.
That's right. We have 8 teams here represented in the ESL Trinity Series Season 2. We're going to play a 7-week round-robin stage where each team plays each other one time. And the best 4 teams, in terms of record and win rate, will advance to the live finals at the ESL Studios. Then we will have the $150,000 prize pool. A lot of money, and quite possibly the biggest team league. Of course, the Gold Series was also announced in China, so a lot of good team competitions coming into Hearthstone.
Yeah, and there you can see what ended up shaping up yesterday. Complexity also took their match 6-4. G2 and Tempo Storm back to the drawing board for them as they figure out the weeks to come. But it was 7 weeks here, and each team playing each other exactly one time throughout the season. Still plenty of time for teams to find footing.
That's right, and today promises to be very much the same, although we're not exactly sure what teams will be playing first. So before we begin, we must consult the Scroll of Knowledge. It's Virtus.pro versus Planet Odd Sports for our first match of the day.
It's a spicy one.
And couldn't be more excited to have these two teams playing to start things off, just because we get to see a lot of the same old faces from Season 1. We had Virtus.pro with Naaman, Dr. Hippie, and Bunny Hopor. But now we have 6-0 Surrender and Hoy, which many people thought were the best team, and they weren't even competing in Season 1.
There's no question about it, and Team Liquid and Love You Lots will be playing later on. And just a reminder before I touch more on your point with Planet Odd is that if there's a match that you're looking forward to in Trinity Series, at some point, it will happen. So if it hasn't happened yet, it's coming in the future. If it happened to be yesterday, you can go back and check the VODs. You'll be able to watch all the teams play once. But Hoy, 6-0, and Surrender is such a strong team. These 3 guys have been together working for quite some time now. And Hoy, coming off of his spring championship victory, where he also won the European playoffs before that, Surrender just won the Asia-Pacific Summer Playoff, and 6-0 has just been a consistent performer. HCT tournaments feel like that's been where his weak spot is, but that's sort of the nature of card games, is that you will find that variance there, but that guy has a wealth of tournament finishes under his belt in the past, third-party tournaments, stream hacks, that sort of thing.
That's right. So let us know how you guys are watching, or if you guys want some updates, make sure you tweet along with us on Twitter by hashtagging the Trinity Series or tagging us ESL Hearthstone. Now, before we begin, we do want to emphasize that this is a team competition. For anybody who has never watched Trinity Series, we will allow the teams to compete and discuss with each other on the plays, but we will have separate pilots. So as we enter the ban and pick phase, we will go ahead and walk you guys through if you haven't watched. But let's go ahead and break it down. How does this work, Admirable?
This is really where Trinity Series becomes such a dynamic format. All 9 classes are represented in play every single match. Prior to the match beginning, teams will ban 2 of the opposing classes, and they will not be available for play. Of those remaining 7, the teams will choose 6 of those classes to come to the table and do battle with. So one of them will be omit by their own choice. With those 6 remaining classes, they're going to play a series where the first team to get 6 wins takes the set, and it is last hero standing, so if you lose with the deck, it's out of contention. If you win with the deck, it stays on board.
That's right, and these decks were submitted before week 1, therefore, Planet Odd and Virtus.pro did not get a chance to adapt any strategies based on what they saw yesterday. We'll see them commit to what they submitted for week number 1. And rightfully so, we expected a lot of druids, priests, and perhaps even rogue potentially be banned, but I'm ready for some curveballs.
Well, there's the curveball for you.
Shaman being banned, let alone just you know, people are omitting Shaman sometimes from their lineup because they are banning Rogue and Rogue, for example, so they don't really feel the need to have Shaman in their lineup. But that is a respect ban for Virtus.pro, and check this out. Virtus.pro is omitting Warlock from their lineup of all things, and Planet Odd omitting Hunter, which also has its place in the meta. Hunter did okay yesterday.
Well, this is, I think Virtus.pro did not anticipate a Hunter omission here, but banning Shaman makes a lot of sense for omitting Warlock. So I imagine their decks are going to be more based towards the mid-range and look to be punished by strategies, just like Shaman, where they're going to bloodlust you out of the game. So omitting the Warlock there makes sense because that's one of the decks that's meant to fight against Shaman right now.
Yeah, and incidentally enough, like you said, because Planet Odd has omitted Hunter, that actually helps the Warlock omission too, because they don't have to worry too much about the Hunter preying on them.
Yep, and here you get a look at the pilots that'll be there. The two classes that are underneath their name is where the main pilot will be, but they'll be communicating and working in teams despite that to come to a final conclusion. But we've seen all sorts of different dynamics with that, where teams sometimes they use a voting system. In Season 1, we saw with Cloud9, they felt that communicating those plays out loud distracted them from the game, so they typically let the pilot just do their thing. But we've also seen teams have somewhat of a voting system where the actual pilot is often a specialist in that class, so they make the final decision.
Yeah, and this is actually a team, Virtus.pro, that's very flexible. I think that they're still one of the most underrated squads out there.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily because they not only will discuss a lot of plays and consult, but they also trust each other a lot. You know, and Dr. Hippie is actually the big proponent of that. A lot of times Naaman and Bunny Hopper will call out the plays, but then they say in tough situations, they just say, Hippie, just take the wheel. And he ends up piloting some really tough decisions, and they just trust him to make the right calls. Now, what's interesting, too, is the dynamics of Planet Odd as well. We know that Sixo and Hoi are much more are very capable of discussing all their plays at length, but Surrender is South Korean and native to that country, so English isn't a very strong suit for him. How is he going to be able to communicate with them now that he's the first member of Planet Odd that's going to be on the stage here?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I've spoken with Surrender via chat, and he's expressed to me directly that he reads and writes English very well. He's not as confident in speaking it necessarily. Now, I'm not sure how much that's changed. It's been quite a while. But I remember him very distinctly telling me that he's confident in reading and writing, not so much in speaking.
And, you know, just a month or two ago, I was talking to Sixo, and he said, I think Surrender English is pretty good. You know, I actually asked him, like, hey, you know, if you guys play in, like, a Trinity Series or a competition, you know, will you be okay talking? He's like, yeah, Surrender's English is fine. I talk with him all the time.
Could just be a shy guy.
It could be a shy guy. I mean, it is kind of tough, you know. I do know that a lot of the Eastern countries, especially Asians, do end up feeling shaky in their ability to speak on camera in another language. But perhaps maybe if he's talking to Six on Hoi, he's going to be comfortable.
Yeah, which is somewhat surprising to me, because almost every single time someone can read and write English and then they tell me they're not as confident speaking it, I'm like, dude, you like talk better than I do. Like, this is like what I do.
They have proper grammar. They like punctuate correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever heard me talk for more than 30 seconds, which is basically have you been around me for 30 seconds, you know that proper grammar ain't one of the things I got.
Ain't that a fact?
Tempo Rogue versus Priest. This is not any Priest, though, Dan.
It's Rizaka's Priest.
But look at those two tech choices.
It's got Dirty Rat and Eater of Secrets. Dirty Rat, of course, very, very strong if you're able to pull out a Prince Kelseth against like the Tempo Rogue, or even like a Vile Spine Slayer before they're able to get some tempo against you. And also, you know, really good against like the quest mages that might be coming out against them too. So I think this is an interesting choice, and especially with Eater of Secrets, that's definitely a nod towards some of those other problematic classes against Priest.
Like Quest Mage,
like the Quest Mage.
Dirty Rat is such an interesting card to me, because this card cycles between looking like a superstar and looking like a terrible choice. And a lot of that is just seated in when are minions taking such a priority based on their effect. And you think of cards like Archmage and Tinnitus, you think of like Raza, for instance. Let's listen to Virtus.pro and hear what they think of this turn 2 Dirty Rat.
This Rat's Stallbreaker. Okay, it's not that bad, I guess. Not the worst outcome. Okay, so now we keep the coin, right? For 25.
Hero power, yes.
Yeah, just hero power.
No attack.
Yeah.
And we need to rope it. Yeah. Like this rope, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can just hover it out. Yeah, just hover.
Oh.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay, wait. So if they actually hit with the rat,
Yeah,
Don't
and if
heal.
they hit and heal it, it goes back to 5. So
okay, yeah.
No attack.
So we silence.
Oh.
The 1-3, right?
Do we power shield first? Or silence heal first?
What 1 mana drop can we get that's relevant? We can get like
I don't think
we can get pain. We can get pain if we shield, right? Then we pay.
Oh yeah, right. The cleric,
Shield
right?
on what?
I think it's
Cleric?
cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the turn after the next one, he can coin the flowers. They can only spread.
And sirens.
Yes. And then
Trade.
trade on dirty red. Do we ever bump 1 damage in afterwards? Let's wait for our draw first and decide.
That's true. So what it's relevant if he has cold blood or something, like he plays.
Yeah, if he buffs it, I think we. Like, what's the punishment? They obviously don't play this. Like, I'm pretty sure they play Prince. Like, yeah, I would trade 1 damage in.
Yeah, because they make it.
Oh, Shackle.
Yeah,
Just
seems
get
like
pass again. Or roll him.
I mean, you can just play Shaku, yeah, just really fast. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
We scared of coin wild spin, right?
Yeah.
We could just tempo the ooze. It's like if you coin wild spines, his trades are still pretty awkward, but
Yeah.
is that better than just healing?
Wood? Sure. I think I like the ooze more than healing, but do we ever hit like the 2/6 into the 1/4 then?
No, I'm very sure we do that, yeah, but I'm not sure if we...
Acolyte is also not bad on this board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, yeah, just play the Acolyte, I guess. It's like if you coin Wild Spine, you can write with the Acolyte.
trade, right?
Yeah.
And go face with the 1/4, I think.
Yeah.
Piss?
Yes, I think so. He can kill the cleric now if he coin Wild Spines. Actually, this is bad. Coins Wild Spine, kills the cleric, and we can't kill Shaku.
Well, a little bit of regret there from 6-0's end. We're saying, oh man, this was bad. I feel like we didn't find the punish there. But what are some of your first impression on the team dynamics here, Admirable?
I mean, it's Virtus.pro as always. Guys are fairly happy-go-lucky, and even though they're pretty business and they really know what's up, they tend to joke around quite a bit. You know, I've played some games with Bunny Hopper recently, and he's just like super chill and super relaxed. Doesn't really care too much about what's going on, but he's here to play. And for Planet Odd, you can tell that they're taking this very seriously on the open. One of their main goals seems to be perfecting every single little decision they can make, but here, I think they missed an opportunity. I mean, you saw that their first instinct was to tempo out the Gluttonous Ooze. Destroying a weapon in this matchup, really not much of a benefit, but getting the board presence very much is. Here, they go with the Acolyte, they'll get some card draw, but they lost their Northshire Cleric with a Power Word Shield.
And a Holy Nova just being drawn too.
Yikes.
I mean, granted that Valspine Slayer was coming down almost no matter what happens.
Sure.
But it's one of those opportunity costs that you have to set up for, and also disrupting your opponent's plays as best you can. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I look at this spot and I wonder how big of a threat Shaku really is. I mean, that's not a card you want to let live for a long time.
I mean, it can be threatening on its own, though. Because
it's very threatening right now.
Part of the thing that limits the Tempo Rogue a lot of times is their resources.
Yeah.
In the past, Tempo Rogue used to run Sprint to help get them card draw because they would be investing so much in preparation. These days, the way that you can actually get a lot of late game value is through cards like Shadow Step, so that you can actually Shadow Step some bigger targets like the Vilespine Slayer and Bone Mares. So it is interesting, you know, how do you balance your resource management? Do you care about your opponent having cards? And it looks like Planet Odd agrees with you. The average priest card is not actually that good if you get Chaku, and it's a lot of times they're situational.
Now the Northshire Cleric here is quite interesting though. That does in some situations pull Planet Odd's ability to actually heal their own minions, and that's an important facet for Planet Odd to keep fighting for the board. Now, I mean, we can see their hand and see that it's fairly dry right now, but I can guarantee you Virtus.pro is looking for a setup where the Northshire Cleric actually disrupts the board presence there in the face of threatening to draw their own cards.
Well, I think the better function of the Northshire Cleric is more of it as a one-mana minion, and it can combo with things like Vilespine or Bone Mare. Let's go ahead and tune in and see how Virtus.pro is going to adapt to this situation here.
Back face with Chaku, yeah.
Also like mixed up.
With Sai. Yeah. I think it's a good one. Played it well. Or maybe just the weapon, yeah.
I don't know, I just re-dagger and push 2 damage phase.
Want to play double wonder or what?
No.
I guess we just play that. Yeah. That seems pretty clean. Yeah, I mean, when the game tells you to play Dragonfire on turn 6, you play Dragonfire on turn 6.
Hey, what's the other play if you don't do it?
This isn't another play. Like, everything else is awkward, since like the 3/3s are so bad for us to deal with. Yeah, just
push it.
Yeah. It's not. Go full misfits here.
We need to play the Firefly, that's for sure. For the next turn, that's this way we're gonna play around the decay.
2 mana, 3 mana.
Why? Why the Firefly? Why not the Light Well? If you put it on the Light
we can play
Firefly and SI.
Oh yeah, Lightwell. Lightwell is gonna be the best target.
why not Cleric? Is there a reason not to Cleric?
I like Cleric, Well, and Sai.
Or we could play Flame Elemental.
Wait, do we want to damage our own Cleric? Nah, but it's gonna be just 50% for it to hit Cleric.
I wonder.
Like, we can go Cleric.
3 mana for sure.
Yeah. We can play Cleric and damage our own Cleric.
No,
Wait,
no.
No. I play
Flame Elemental.
Yeah, just play Flame Elemental.
Stay well in here.
So Baron here?
I think so. I mean, you have some time, don't need to do too fast, but...
Like, of course, we need like a wild spin and like a cheap activator.
Yeah, it's very... Like, I already played the wild spin, so I don't want to play on the second one, and if we play like anything else, then Bone Mare becomes so annoying. Like, you can't play the Pain because any Bone Mare says Lightwell. I mean, you can do that anyways, this becomes a 4/9. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's just Velen.
I must consider.
Not all who wander are lost.
Wow, Virtus.pro is going to run away with this one if Planet Odd does not pick up some of their other key pieces here. And I think you're starting to see the product of some of those deck building choices really come into play. I mean, we do see Gluttonous Oozes from time to time in the Priest, but when you add in Eater of Secrets and Dirty Rats and you're not playing Gnomish Inventors and cycling through your deck, sometimes you're stuck with awkward plays like this where you have to play tempo for the board with Prophet Valen.
Now, that's not to say that they cut those particular card draw cards, but in this spot, Prophet Valen is pretty much turned into a high-priority War Golem in this spot. Planet Odd doesn't need Felon to win this matchup, but what they do need is to get a handle on this board. I mean, there are a couple cards that can do it, but they've already used Dragonfire Potion. So I'm thinking Shadow Word Horror and Shadow Visions are probably two of their best draws right now. You know, Shadow Reaper Anduin's not doing work on board. They don't have 0-cost hero power yet, so even the effect isn't that super powerful. And now they're under a considerable amount of pressure.
Right.
I am curious if when they see Vile Spine Slayer, they anticipate no Bone Mare being there, though. And again, Curious Glimmer is not a discover. You have to pick the one that's in your opponent's deck. So if you wanted that Sinister Strike, you can't just grab it.
So what is actually going on here? The Priest is playing Rogue cards, and the Rogue is playing Priest cards?
Well, this is the typical Steel stuff matchup, right?
I guess in terms of class identities, it's like slowly gravitated towards Priest and... Well, I mean, Priest has always been more of stealing with Thought
Priest is like
Steal.
conversion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Changing your mind and whatnot with Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
But Rogue is the one stealing stuff.
Yeah. They're scrapping it out there. They're trying to find anything they can.
Yeah,
you know?
they're the survivalist in the apocalypse.
They used to have to use...
What is happening?
They used to have to use Blinding Dust to blind things, and now they just grab a handful of dirt.
Yeah.
Rogue is a really scrappy deck where you get to these late game scenarios, and it's just about maximizing your tool potential.
That's what makes it really fun for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know there was actually a surprising amount of popularity for Burgle Rogue despite its terrible win rate.
It's just
before it rotated out with the Grand Tournament.
You know, I remember when I was reviewing the new set, people were like, "Why was Archbishop Benedict's a card?" And I'm like, "People just like stealing stuff, man. Listen to
it's actually a competitive card.
Listen to the players and see what they think of what's going on."
Is other Feast Nova?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you just do it. There's no other play.
Yeah.
And if they Bone Mare, just top deck the Anduin.
I think like they need to top deck Bone Mare, right? They would have played Bone Mare this
Yeah, pretty sure. I mean, obviously Bone Mare plays into
Anduin
a bit. It's no, actually last turn was also awkward because we had Advent on board, so playing a Spellbreaker makes sense. So I guess we don't really have that read.
Healing himself.
So this seems obvious. Hallucination, Deckhand, and... Yeah, just play the hallucination first. Yeah.
How can I?
Organize seems decent, at least.
Yeah, how can I? Push him.
Yeah, it seems better than... Yeah. Mm-hmm. That
Just go face
dagger.
is all.
Oh, actually...
Just go face.
Go in face with all.
Nearby. Go with his face. Go to face.
We're gonna be weak
Yeah.
to silence.
I mean, we lose to
Good
what's it
challenge.
called? The 2-card combo, right?
Yeah.
But that's fine, right?
I think we can still trade.
No,
Let's
I
see
think we
if
go
we
on
trade.
face. I think if we have it, we lose.
Okay, trade with the Lightful. Trade with the Lightful and with the Deckhand. This way we play around the silence. Yeah, like this one more.
I'm not sure.
I like smarking.
So just loot for the Eat of Secrets, create a healing potion.
Yeah.
Why not just Elemental and heal ourselves?
I wonder.
Instead of
Overwatch.
Feeder?
Huh?
Instead of Eater or instead of create a healing potion?
I mean, push in Loot Order, heal, Elemental.
I mean, we can't heal after healing potion, we are full.
Oh, yeah. True.
Give me sec Eater. Also, like, we can top deck Lyra. So just play Eater, Greater Heating, and Loot Horner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, we have drawn so many cards and didn't get any, like...
Maybe we could have drawn more if we played differently, so... but yeah. But just so unlucky. 12 cards left. None of the... Reno.
One. Yeah. Just Shadowcaster the Bowman, that's for sure. And I think we can just cycle. Yeah, we should have cycled the Purify. Yeah.
But on what?
You don't want to buff anything
No,
else.
we can silence
I'm still
the,
back.
we silence the 1-mana Hawks and it will be 5-5.
Oh yeah, true. But we can do it next turn, right? This way we need to play it around the Death Knight. Like if we silence it right now.
What if we trade the 4-1?
Wait, why don't we just play this pro? Nah.
We can just play Okina.
The Okina is bad with the well.
What do we buff?
I think you don't buff anything. I think you just trade with Bone Mare and you go face with everything else.
Why not like
Okay, yeah.
Or like
Yeah, like one. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this voice is good. And just redagger. Yeah, we will silence the horse, yeah.
Oh man!
Do you
what
believe
a
that?
crazy game? Potion of Madness also coming into play.
That's a big draw.
Yeah, because now they can pint size and Potion of Madness. 2 draws for potential Shadow Word Horror.
Well, they also have the Radiant Elemental here. I mean, this could be a big chain. Potion of Madness, kill a minion,
what
and
died.
An Eternal Servitude. Do you want Eternal Servitude first or after?
Well, I don't know what they would want that would immediately help them here.
It's a great question.
There's a
Dirty
bunch
Rat,
of
maybe?
Dirty Rats. There's Loot Hoarder. There's
so they're taking the, well,
Priest of the Feast.
Circle of Healing. That'll provide them another random priest card.
Prophet Valen died too.
I think they need to Circle of Healing before they attack there, but they want to make sure they kill the 1/1 as well. Dragonfire Potion. You're not supposed to have access to 2 of those.
If they revive Prophet Valen, that'd be huge. And a
Silence gets picked up.
Well, they can silence the Light Weld now.
They get a card draw off the Loot Hoarder as well. Wow, this was a huge turn for Planet Odd. They were not going to win this game unless they had something massive, and Lyra was it.
You know, what's so funny is they have another Bone Mare, so they can just put this Light Weld back up to a 4/9 and make it problematic again.
The other thing, too, is you heard them talking about the silence. They're like, maybe we should jump first. The Bone Mare right now is a 1/1 copy because it's from Shadowcaster. They can actually purify that Bone Mare and turn it back into a 5/5.
Right.
They want the timing of that to be proper, though, because if they do that into Shadow Reaper Anduin, they don't have that ability. But here, I think they've gotten to read there is no Shadow Reaper Anduin, and they know that there's not because there's 2 random priest cards in hand.
Yes, but they don't know one of them is Dragonfire Potion.
Right, so if they trade the Lightwell and weaken it, it could be bad news for them. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good for Virtus.pro, but it's still anyone's race right now.
So the best way to hedge their bets then is to clear Lyra with the 5/5.
Well, Lyra's biting the dust. There's no question about that. And if they're worried about top decks,
Dagger
they should be killing some form of these minions. Radiant Elemental's pretty scary to leave online, but once Lyra's gone, not nearly as much.
Yeah, I think with Lyra God, you don't have to worry too much about it.
And with the Lightwell silenced, they're now free to use the Auchenai instead.
They have to kill this 2/1 with the dagger, otherwise the Dragonfire Potion clears everything.
And so now Planet Odd needs 2 damage to full clear the board. Bloodmage Downloads is enough!
It!
So they have Spirit Lash
to gain everything back.
Right, and so they want to use the Spirit Lash in couple with the Blood Mage to gain the health back. Then they Dragonfire Potion, and Virtus.pro is out of cards.
And they draw a card, too.
Huge pickups for Planet Odd.
No, it's more than huge. They're winning the game now. Let's go ahead and tune in and see how Virtus.pro is going to turn this back around, if they can.
No, don't concede, still play. I started to hit Lyra. I already told you the story about the Asian games. The guy got 2 spells and he got Dragonfire potions both of the times.
Oh, we can try to kill him.
We have Kazakus left, so we have enough value just from Kazakus, I think.
Yeah. So do you play this? We have
I don't think
death.
so. Oh, actually, yeah, sure.
I mean, we have death.
Yeah, play it first. Damage is more important than here. Yeah, okay, play it and ping his face.
The light has betrayed me.
Okay, if you don't draw anything good now, you can...
What good? What can
The 5 mana stealth minion.
They don't even.
Oh, we pray.
The heal power first,
Everything
right?
and trade everything, right?
Yeah, just clear. Just hero power, Raza, hero power, smite, hero power.
Surrender your will to
Use both fight spines, so this 5/5 connects every time.
Maybe you can get like heal power for free.
I'm kind of scared they draw Kazakas. I'm not sure if they have anything 2 off left. Nice.
Seems good.
Actually, should they concede? Like, maybe they actually have to win with Kazak.
What a back and forth game, and Planet Odd starts off the series with a Priest win. I think that goes to show you that this Priest deck can not draw Raza or Anduin until card number 24 and still be able to formulate a game plan because they have outs with things like Lyra setups with large forms of area effect. And also another thing too is that the Rogue deck didn't get Prince Keleseth early on or like a big Van Cleave, and yet was still able to make such a big push. I think both decks' potency, despite suboptimal draws, were on full display that game.
Yeah, absolutely so. And you can look at that game all you want and say Planet Odd got lucky at the end to pull what they did. But again, you have to account for they drew Dirty Rat and Eater Secrets early on, despite the card draw on their deck. And you take a look at how many draws they had left that were impactful. Sure, on the turn that Lyra showed up, that was really the card they needed. Right. But they didn't provide a Shadow Visions early.
Find Kazakus.
They didn't find Kazakus. Again, they didn't have the Raza. They didn't have the Anduin. They were fighting from behind the entire game.
That was all in their bottom 7 cards.
One critical draw changed everything.
Yeah. And at the same time, too, the Rogue, outside of Prince Keleseth, though, had pretty good scenarios set up. They had big Bone Mirror swings. They got the Shadowcaster value that we always talk about. Like we always say, like how the Rogue doesn't have the ability to spend all their mana in the late stage of the game because they're often out of cards. But that's where Shadowcaster and Shadow Steps really come into play.
Yeah, and then the Bone Mirrors too.
The Bone Mirrors are huge, and they weren't enough.
They even had great targets for the Bone Mirror. You know, the Lightwell as a 4/9 for multiple turns in a row. They never got the card draw synergy off of it, but you know, there's 2 spots to look at for me. Number 1. The way that Planet Odd damaged the Northshire Cleric, and then number 2, the way that Virtus.pro damaged their Northshire Cleric that they got from a random effect. If it had been at a 1/3, I think it would have been much more potent in combination with the Lightwell.
Yeah, and you also heard the team comms, too, of them playing to each other's outs and to their own outs. We heard it themselves. Hoy said... you know, because Surrender's like, I want to play this a little bit slower, and Hoy says, no, we're going to clear our hand, so that way, if we top deck Lyra in this position, we still have the Radiant Elemental and a cheap spell, so that way we can get the outs.
Yeah.
So they were playing, they knew they were in a tough spot. They said, we have, what, like 12 cards left remaining. One of them needs to be Lyra or like a big Kazakus potion.
Point, yeah.
Yeah. So they played specifically to 2 out of 12 cards and said, you know, this is our 16% chance to win right now. And they were rewarded for it. And they were in a tough losing spot without that.
Yeah, and you heard Virtus.pro say it going right in that turn. They need Lyra, or we got it. Yeah. And then Lyra showed right up. Just what a crazy way to kick off this series. And, you know, despite the contrast in attitudes here with Virtus.pro being, you know, very playful, and you saw the face of Dr. Hippie at the end, and kind of like, yep, that's the draw, all right.
Well,
these guys
it needed to be Lyra with a big, impactful draw, and Dragonfire Potion didn't clear on its own either. Like, they needed some form of way to boost that, so they had Spirit Lash and the Blood Mage Thanos. And there was a couple of other combinations that could have also really hurt them.
Shadowward Horror. Yeah,
Shadowward Horror would come out, or if Kazakus got a really cheap potion to help also, or even the 5-mana potion to help set up waves of AoE because they weren't dead that following turn. There's a lot of ways it could have played out, and that's what shows you the power of this Priest deck. And it's going to be on for another game here. We're going to see Hunter come out here from Virtus.pro, and I will tell you that Hunter is not guaranteed against Priest at all. It's 50-50 at best, and that usually depends on how good Hunter opens and how poor Priest draws.
Wow, you think it's that close? I think Hunter's considerably favored.
Well, I mean, I don't consider it favored considerably. I think when you can get a good start, especially with Bear Shark, that's when Hunter... Okay, well, here's the thing.
How many times do you think you'd say that in this format, by the way?
I would say that the reason why it's 50-50 is because of how polarized the matchups tend to be. It's usually 50-50, but it's not close. it's usually Hunter blows out Priest or Priest completely shuts down Hunter.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
And that's when it might feel like it's favored, because when Priest doesn't answer like the Houndmaster from the Bear Shark, or like a Misha that just keeps getting damage in every turn,
curve, etc.
Then it's like, well, this matchup's like
whoa,
bad,
they keep Shadow Reaper Anduin. Now I know that's a very important card, but my experience playing Priest against Hunter has been me just getting pummeled in the face by early game threats. I have attempted to keep Shadow Reaper Anduin. I have often not reached turn 7 in this matchup. The fact that they're keeping it, to me, speaks volumes about their confidence in this matchup. So there's a I think a very significant chance that I was simply approaching this matchup incorrectly from the Priest side of things. But I've seen this matchup a lot on stream too, and if you talk to Brian Kibler, he's a big proponent of the Hunter side in this matchup. And frankly, I agree. I think Bear Shark and Animal Companion are 2 extremely important threats in this matchup, and they do a ton of work.
I mean, they do, but I don't think that's the end-all be-all. And I think a lot of times the games end up being determined more on if Priest has the removal for the Hunter and if Hunter can provide the threats. So, I mean, the data kind of implies that it's even. I do think that it's a lot of times people are mulliganing incorrectly on the Priest side. And I think a large reason has to do with something that Planet Odd did. I think they don't actually have a way to win the game against Hunter, which is why Shadow Reaper Anduin is crucial to the strategy. Like, a lot of times people just think about removing from Hunter, but then how do you actually remove 30 points of life from them?
It's a great question. I've never had the opportunity to even begin myself, so it's tough for me to say.
I completely agree with that.
Look at this play. Such a strong play from Planet Odd given the Scavenging Hyena. Let's hear how Virtus.pro reacts to this.
The crawler. Oh, they can keep the Shadow Warp in, yeah. That might be another consideration. So they don't have Potion of Madness, they don't have Cleric, so it's probably Shadow Warp.
You might actually want to use Spirit Lash here instead of using Potion.
To prepare for Babushka?
Even if you have Potion, yeah, because Babushka.
Mind if I roll need?
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I think, yeah, you trade them to play the Bear Shark. Yeah. Yeah, you have to trade.
Yeah, because Potion
they have the
way
potion.
too good.
Yeah. Then I need.
Well, I
Now
guess
we can try to look for horror.
No, that's Shadow Vision. Could just play the potion here.
Yeah, the next turn you took secrets.
I mean, if he Houndmasters, we are kind of screwed. But not like the other cards play on Houndmaster better. No, I think we'd potion and play it. This has to be the play, right? Like, Pain doesn't do anything anymore.
No, only like if they get deer or something. Only no is never a consideration.
Yeah, just play the potion.
Quickly.
No.
Wait.
I mean, we just it's gonna be weak to what?
Don't you like Razor more plus Hyena?
Oh, actually, yeah, might be better.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I like it more. Yeah.
Because they don't have Potion of Madness in the hand. I think Divine Shield is the strongest.
Divine Shield, right?
Yeah,
that's
Divine
right.
Shield.
Yeah, play Hyena.
They also use the Spirit Lash, so they can't go Talnos plus that. It's like not super simple for them to deal with
And
this.
they need to detect the potion from their deck.
Wow, there's a lot going on with this opening hand. You heard Virtus.pro going through the deduction of what that kept card was. And you heard Bunny Hopper at the very end say, well, maybe it's better for them to save Potion of Madness here. And a lot of times, yes, stuff like Kindly Grandmother could benefit Planet Odd by saving the potion. So when they see the potion off the Shadow Visions instead, that card that Planet Odd kept continues to get honed in on.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's, well, is that a Kazakus or is that a Raza? Or maybe in the other cases you can put them on Anduin, but There is a kept card there, which will be in the back of Virtus.pro's mind. And you don't keep too many cards guaranteed against Hunter, but you keep some of the big, impactful swinging ones.
Yeah, and
so I think now they can know that's not Kazakus, because that should have been Kazakus play. Wow, Houndmaster being picked up.
Huge draw, and this is the payoff that the Hunter deck is almost always looking for. Dan, I personally haven't landed a Houndmaster since 2014, but I have seen so many of these happening. How do they keep doing it? I never land this card. Like, I don't get how Hunter wins when I play with it, because I'm just like, I just have like multiple crabs.
So
and
you basically haven't played Hunter since 2014. Is that what you're telling me?
I play it a fair amount. I mean, I never land a Houndmaster. But
you always draw patches.
I don't even play patches that much.
Your opponent always has Raza Anduin. And Kella says Shadow Step on too.
I do fairly well versus Priest, personally. They do always have Prince Kelaquest, though. Don't tell me they don't.
All right, well, doesn't sound like any kind of words that I can say can convince you otherwise, because you convinced yourself. Virtus.pro picks up Houndmaster here. They're kind of debating about how best to utilize this, but it's a very clear play from our perspective.
I think the only debate they have is should they trade the Crackling Razor Maul here and protect the Scavenging Hyena from Holy Nova and from a potential Potion of Madness top deck. I think that both of those plays service them less, simply because the amount of pressure they have rolling. Face a Holy Nova, they're fine. Face a Potion of Madness, they're fine. Face a Raza, they now have trades on board. I think I like their hold.
Planet Odd was not competitive in this game whatsoever until that Raza draw. Now they actually can maybe stall. Or can they? Bittertide Hydra off the top.
Shadow Word Death waiting in the wings.
Yeah, but there's so many good targets now for Shadow Word Death. Actually, here's another big problem here of coming up on Dragonfire Potion turn. Yeah. How do you play around that? Virtus.pro's already kind of hard at work discussing stuff, so let's go ahead and listen in.
Yeah, just do it.
Smart moves.
We did, right? We get to 22.
Yeah.
12. Guess 21 damage, right? So technically it's one off.
Yes.
I wonder.
Well, from Larian to get both Dragonfire potions.
Did you hear power once this game? Probably no.
We didn't, no. Alright, that's a
T1 potion, 22. 4. I mean, they still won't be able to deal with Hydra with the board. Doesn't save them. So we trade the dragon, go face with everything else. Play Savannah.
Wait. So the 8 go face always.
It's 1-0?
8, 11, 19, 20. Yeah, it's 1 off.
1 damage off.
We still trade it and play Savannah.
Did you trade the 3-2?
Yeah, trade the 3-2. Yeah.
Yeah, you only lose 1 damage. It's like a crossing the circle. But it also gets you health. I mean, I'm not sure even if playing Savannah is correct, because well, I know, never mind. Because they can always heal. Yeah, they can always heal, so it doesn't really matter. So, like, if they had a board clear.
There you go, Hunter able to get the win over the Priest, and we kind of mentioned that in the very beginning of the game, it's usually not close when one wins over the other because it's a dominant fashion. Hunter able to get to the board, stick that Bear Shark, land the Houndmaster, have a Scavenge Hyena live to the end of the game. You tell me how to come back from that, even if you have Raza and Anduin.
Yeah, it's a great question. And you painted the picture very well. It's a blowout one way or the other. Either the Priest checks all the threats, and Hunter doesn't get the repetitive damage moving, or Hunter gets the repetitive damage moving, Priest has no way to recover. Very rarely does that match turn into any sort of grindy battle and really come down to those end cards. So now, series tied up at 1 apiece. First team to 6 wins is going to take this set.
There is an instance where the matchup can go long, and it's often dependent on whether or not Hunter has the Deathstalker Rexar, and sometimes your early aggression stops because a lot of Hunters still play, and they keep Kindly Grandmother a lot still times in the matchup, which I think is incorrect.
Yes.
And they end up like losing value and they lose the board, but they still have Deathstalker Rexar, which actually is very good against Priest because you can usually piece together big beasts at 4 attack with high health, things like Oasis Snapjaw and Stegodon end up buffing with like other couple things like Ravasaur Runts and Scavenge Hyenas, and all of a sudden you have like these crazy threats that Priest can't keep dealing with over and over. So that card's also like super powerful against Priest. That's when the matchup gets really interesting, is when Priest has some removal and options and Hunter has Deathstalker Rexar with no real threats leading up to it.
One of the big ways for Priest to simply push the Deathstalker Rexar as well is just simply to assemble the Uraza and Anduin combo. At that point, you're in a bit of a damage race.
Yes,
unless the beasts that are showing up are just very weak. And usually in the face of that, though, the beasts are just super powerful. Sometimes they have stealth. You know, heaven forbid they get a stealthed Tundra Rhino sitting underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really expensive, too. So it's like late stage of the game. There's like Jungle Panther and Stranglethorn Tiger to give you stealth.
Oftentimes, Hunter is going to be, you know, near the 30-point life total once you get to that stage. And that's what makes it so difficult, even if they assemble Raza and Anduin, is that they still have to piece together all of that damage. And most of their resources have been invested throughout the game to simply stay at parity.
Yeah. So there you go. Hunter gets the win. We don't even know if Virtus.pro is running the Deathstalker Rexar, for example. Some Hunter lists that are trying to play a little faster don't even run that card, because Deathstalker Rexar is very similar to Jiraxis for a lot of the old Control Warlock decks. Either you play Reno Warlock or Handlock. And the fact that it's often a shifting game plan when you're like, okay, I'm no longer winning the game through just like my early and mid stages game. I'm going to just win through late game value. And it's just a complete shift in ideology. And you often have to have the right hand to back it up too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case with the Build-A-Beast, but it's the same philosophy. And a lot of the Hunter decks, when they're brought to tournaments, have a very specific game plan. They're not actually trying to shift and adapt to it. They're just usually trying to pressure through ideal curve. And you can see it too. The Hungry Crabs and the Hunter. This Hunter is specifically geared to killing Murloc Paladins or any other things that happen to actually play a Murloc. That's where Hunter really excels. It has tech cards that don't gimp his game plan as significantly as other decks, because Galactic Crawler, Hungry Crab are all beasts that synergize with its normal tribal-based stuff.
I want to point out how important it is that Virtus.pro actually didn't show that Hungry Crab in Game 2 as well. You know, they held on to it the entire game. I don't think it would have impacted their board presence at all, but the fact that Planet Odd doesn't know that they have that tool could lead them into some tricky spots.
Yeah, that's right. So this Hunter has become hate card filled, or it's a hateful Hunter, because it's got Galactic Crawler, Hungry Crabs.
I mean, look at the
What if they have a flare in there? just you know, tossed in just so they can kill all the mages as well.
I've seen it before.
I've seen it before.
Tempo Rogue, interesting queue up into this matchup, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how Planet Odd chooses to outfit some of their mid stage of their deck. We've seen Shadowcaster implying that they're playing a slower variant. Galactic Crawlers, though, can be a big swing in this matchup because of how important it is to get South Sea Captains and big patches onto the board.
I mean, we just saw Purple win America's playoffs with a pair of Galactic Crawlers in basically every single deck. And even against Nalguidon's Hunter in one of the games, Bloodsail Corsair came out early. Purple had Galactic Crawler, and he had another Galactic Crawler. And that game was still close despite that. And so when Virtus.pro plays a Galactic Crawler here, I think Planet Odd is almost never going to play around the idea of a second one. And part of that reasoning for me is I heard 6-0 in game number 1 say they've already played a Vile Spine. I'm not going to play around the second one.
Yeah. Do want to give a nod to the Vicious Syndicate team, that they do a good job compiling a lot of data. And according to the report that they released this morning, Tempo Rogue's only significantly losing matchup is extreme aggro decks like the Aggro Token Druid that still exists with Snow Flipper Penguin. I just want to put it out there, by the way, that I saw this deck list played by Icer, and I was like, Snow Flipper Penguin, is this guy trolling me? But no, because it's a cheap token, which is what you want to do with Innervate anyways, and then you use it with like Mark of Yasharaj, etc. That deck is the only deck that has a strong win percentage, at least according to all ranks on ladder. And then Tempo Rogue has good matchups against even the slightly slower pressure decks like Hunter, because it's able to win the board so convincingly, and because of things like Bone Mare really secures late game.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and listen to Virtus.pro as this early game gets underway. They're in sort of a tough spot.
No reason. You're showing Glaka. Yeah, just play the Grandfather faster. Yeah.
Okay.
Such big teeth I have.
Shit, sounds good. So what do you taunt? No.
Why wouldn't you? Taunt is the best option. No stealth for the hunter.
Definitely better.
Styles.
But
Okay, yeah, stealth is better. Yeah, instead there's going to be this backstab and side. Yeah, you stealth and you don't trade, then do you want to trade with the weapon? I don't really like to trade. Like if they play the captain, if they play with any kind of pirate, they still trade with the dragon. I'd probably keep the weapon. No reason to give it away to the firefly. I don't like trading, yeah.
So we just deckhand in Tarkir?
Do we trade pitches in first to play on Glaka Crawler? No.
Like if they like a crawler next turn, it's fine, right?
Yeah, we don't care about the buff enough to do that.
Yeah.
We don't use our dagger, we just trade the deckhand in.
Like the other play was like to trade the 1-2 and save the South Sea.
Do you take it, dagger?
Keep it. I believe in you, please do it.
Okay, easy.
Please do it. Work top deck for command. For command is gonna be better. No, just not to risk.
Choose soon.
Hounds.
Unleashed.
Unleash, I think Unleash is pretty good actually.
Probably Unleash.
Yeah, we're not gonna get more value from Unleash, and Deadly Shot is better. Yeah, Unleash, I like it more. Yeah. Do we trade with Babushka? I like activating Babushka.
We trade Halberd. No?
Yeah, we trade with the bow, Babushka, and the doggy.
The question is, do you trade 2 doggies into the 1/1s?
No, I wouldn't. If he wants to trade, let him do the trade.
But the thing is, like, he can use his dagger, right?
Yeah, the dagger. Oh, you wanna do it? Okay, then trade. Yeah, okay. We have Savannah. Yeah, like. Yeah, that's right.
Just trade the babushka, Dan. It's that simple.
I'm trying to look up what that means. Babushka.
So many options.
It means grandmother?
There you go. Trade to the grandmother. The babushka.
Google's an amazing tool, man.
I don't know what I do with that.
Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor. No, it's just, I just, that's the power of technology, man.
I'm gonna call my babushka tonight.
I have in my hand a device that has access to all of man's knowledge over the course of tens of thousands of years of documented history, and I use it to look up gifts of cats.
You mean I have to pay $30 a month for that?
Well, what kind of service do you have? I want that. $30 a month only?
Well, I got to pay the extra mandatory for cable and stuff. Yeah.
Planet Odd here looking to see if they can win back the board. That swing with Unleash the Hounds was super powerful, and the best part is that it sets up for their Savannah High main. Another thing, too, about Planet Odd is that they awkwardly set up, you know, a Vilespine turn, but now they have to kind of disassemble the pieces when you play like Southsea and Vilespine on 6, and instead don't have a guaranteed way to activate that. Instead, they have Piranha Launcher, which is kind of an awkward card to use and honestly pretty terrible. Piranha Launcher is just way too slow. In Arena, you can get a lot of value off of it, but not in a constructed environment.
I just don't get why the Piranhas don't have charge. I think if they had charge, that card would just actually be decent.
I think that card might be insane if it had
5 mana.
But every single... Is it? How many piranhas come off of it? I actually don't even know.
It's a 2/4 weapon, and it makes 1 piranha per attack.
Okay, so only 1 charger?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like Vine Cleaver.
I think that card could have totally been pushed in that situation. You know, completely off topic, but
I can see it.
It launches the piranhas. Like, can you imagine like coming around the corner? You're like,
but piranhas can't really move. That's the whole point. It just keeps the zone.
I wonder.
It just bites around itself.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters too much.
No. I mean, look at Planet Odd have to use Cold Blood suboptimally here to get Vilespine down. That's what we're talking about. Deathstalker Rexar. They don't really need to drop it right now.
Absolutely not.
But like, it's one of those interesting things to think about because they were very threat light in their hand. They had almost nothing else. They're pretty much all in on that high main. Yeah. And now they don't have to be.
Well, Deadly Bear Shark and then push 7 is still a very large amount of damage. What?
I mean, I think this is fine too because it sets up their threats for the following turn. And if you think about it, how does Planet Odd punish this? They can't.
Well, let's hear what they have to say to see how they can punish it.
Attack and next turn Boomer.
Yeah.
Sure. Do we ever Cold Blood the 1/1?
Don't think so.
Yeah, don't.
Why?
We can
Otherwise, you just killed it with the Golakka Koala.
So many options.
I guess then we can use our weapon for on the Golakka Koala next turn. Sure. Save the Cold Blood then.
Let's raise them.
So you Cold Blood, right?
Oh. But you don't want to use it. Wait, do you want to use it? I thought you didn't want to.
Interesting, yeah.
Alright.
So Bear Shark, Deadly Shot.
Oh, Deadly Shot it.
I like Deadly Shotting it.
It's kind of funny.
So we have Hero Power, Bear Shark. Oh, you want to do it?
Let's Hero Power first, right?
I like...
Wait. Why don't you like Hero Power?
He wants to attack, to have some target for...
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, yeah, for Horse.
Yeah.
See it? Yeah?
Yeah,
but wait, why don't we play the Bear Shark and Huntmaster? We can play it with this. I like playing it more.
What if we trade Bear Shark? No, what if we Deadly Shot Bear Shark and build a beast?
I like keeping the Deadly Shot. I don't think that's like...
Shouldn't we start building bigger beasts?
Is it necessary to play the Deadly Shot right now? It's not necessary to play the Deadly Shot. No, I like playing Bear Shark and the Huntmaster.
Okay.
We don't need to use the Deadly Shot right now. Like, the Golakka is 3-3. Why do we need to care about it? And we win the late game.
What was that? Why didn't you trade and make the Bear Shark bigger?
We can spell Breakaway Agent here. And trade...
Kill all the
two posteries.
No, just leave the 2-3 up.
Right?
No.
So many options.
Your
Yeah,
magic
can use our face now since they don't have Hunter Hero Power anymore. Obviously they can get stealth or charge, but...
Ha, this guy's toast.
We have to play the value game now, right?
Hero Power.
We charge pretty sick.
Yeah, charge.
Yeah.
But we wanna play it now, right?
We can find there are many beasts to unless.
We can also play the run. We can also take the 2 mana. The 2 mana is also
good. Get Rhino. Okay, and you get the Taunt. Yeah, I like the Taunt. It's gonna be 7 HP.
Wait.
Support.
Okay.
We don't wanna pick 5. We don't wanna pick. It's 3 or 2. I like 2 to play it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which tracks to follow? Senku's fate.
How do we wanna trade? We play trade the Golakka into 1/1. And you trade with Spellbreaker.
What about going face?
like trading. We have Infinity Resource. Yeah.
Yeah, because of Shadow Step. Shadow Step.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Shadow Step.
Wow, this game.
What a crazy back and forth game.
I think Virtus.pro misplayed that Houndmaster turn significantly.
Yeah, not trading to the 5-1 sets up for Rogue to punish you with tempo. That's actually the position they want to be in. Have a reasonable threat on the board, establish some board themselves, and find the optimal trade.
Yeah, I think that there's so many different lines they can go with, but I think they chose one of the worst ones because if they Houndmaster the Bear Shark and trade with the 2-3, they're representing 10 power on board, and one of them's the Bear Shark. They can't attack with the Piranha Launcher without taking too much damage in that situation.
But look at this draw, Bittertide Hydra. Okay, there's some interesting choices here.
Well, Deadly Shot's definitely on the menu right now.
Well, yeah, because you want to take off 5 power on the board, but Corpse Widow lets you play kind of gun with it for free. But that's if you can play it, if you get Snowflip or Penguin, because you also want to play Deadly Shot this turn. So I might just opt for a cheap one in Timberwolf.
At 25, though, they potentially could afford to take a shot here.
True that. Bloodworm is also really good for stalling. It puts a big body on board, and the lifesteal keeps you competitive in the game and the life total, so they can't race you.
I like setting that up for next turn as well. I think that with Planet Odd down to 1 card at this point, it's very difficult for them to get a big tempo push at this stage. They choose to go with
the Oasis Snapshot.
Yeah, and just a lot of stats.
Yep, and Bittertide Hydra. Bittertide Hydra was such a big draw because Bittertide is like the kind of stats you want. I mean, Bittertide is a zombie, if you really think about it. Way overstated, extremely powerful, must be dealt with.
Vile Spine gets picked up. That is the perfect draw for Planet Odd. That is huge right now.
And if you think about it, very flavorful. Vile Spine is kind of like a piranha.
Are they really thinking about saving this?
They're thinking about,
okay,
you know, probably what they want to have for dinner and celebration for winning this game.
Also, whether or not to use the Piranha Launcher in this spot. Virtus.pro still backs against the wall. Yeah. Let's see how they want to tackle this.
How? So when it's big stealth minion. No.
For example, yeah.
So hero power.
Yeah, hero power, no reason to play Babushka, yeah. The Nesting Rock. No, wait. We can play Dakota and to kill, but we have 50-50 chance. I think Nesting Rock is better. It's gonna be a taunt.
Is it?
For the next turn. Next turn we're gonna play the wolf.
Sure.
But it can still die. Yeah, we can play the wolf and we can crackman it and to find stealth or taunt.
Okay, true.
So what do you pick? 5 mana?
Nesting Rock.
4/7.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, 4/7. Bloodworm. Yeah, I like the Bloodworm.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Bloodworm. Because it's gonna have do the huge taunt.
Babushka and Wolf?
Yeah, Babushka, Wolf. Yeah, the Zombie Beast and yeah, rather more.
Yeah.
No, rather more.
I asked Babushka and Wolf? Yeah.
We have Rizzo, right?
Yeah, exactly, Rizzo, right?
Yeah.
Nice Rizzo.
Yeah. Good job, Savannah.
The draws like we just fights.
Just casually to leave, right? It's like the first game as well. Oh my god.
I think 6-0 summarized it perfectly. It was just like the first game. We stole another one from Virtus.pro. And Tempo Rogue, just by the skin of their teeth, able to take game 3 with back-to-back big draws.
Game 1 looked lucky. That game was legitimately lucky. Those were 2, like, basically back-to-back draws necessary. 1 Bile Spine left and the lone Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
They're out of Cold Bloods. They don't run Eviscerates. There's no card draw here. That was your fate operating that game.
And, you know, a couple of interesting situational uses of cards that we don't normally see. Piranha Launcher is a card that's often mocked as a card that Hunter can't play. Oh, yet another weapon Hunter can't really add to its arsenal, and yet making an appearance here thanks to some of the rogue steel cards.
In a big way, too.
Yeah, it guarantees a minion for the Bone Bear.
I really think that Virtus.pro put themselves on the back foot here, though. Once they landed the Bear Shark Houndmaster turn, they were fighting for value at that point, not for pressure. They were under almost no pressure. So when they chose to buff the Galaka Crawler and push face, they left the 5/1 on board to trade it immediately. So you now traded the card straight up, and you got 5 damage from it. That's if Planet Odd has nothing to compound that issue whatsoever.
Right.
So I think if they simply Houndmaster the Bear Shark in that situation, trade in the 2/3 Galaka Crawler, or if they use the Deadly Shot and just play the Bear Shark alongside the hero power and then save the Houndmaster for the following turn to fight for board better, either of those situations I think leave them in better spots because both of those scenarios fight for value, and value was their game plan at that point.
Well, I think the thing about the hero power that you guys saw on full display is that you can almost guarantee spend your rest of your mana efficiently for the rest of the game and not even have to draw a single card. Also, you can see Virtus.pro is put in constant situations where they need to evaluate how good the first pick is. And the first pick is one of the most critical ones because it limits the rest of your turn. That is why most people, when they build zombies, tend to pick either the immediate best card that they know will impact it, such as Tundra Rhino, which they knew they needed, or they often usually go for the cheap choice because then they can fill out the rest of the mana card guaranteed, versus the first pick, if you pick a very expensive minion like the Nesting Rock, they were stuck on a 10-mana play with no guarantee that they were able to get the taunt, even though they have this ridiculous 8/11 lifesteal minion.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where zombies is like a giveth and taketh away scenario, but you have to always hedge your bets whenever you're making the first selection.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. If you've been having trouble selecting off of Zombeast, take the cheap beast first until you get used to it. Once you sort of feel out what kind of scenarios you can take bigger risks in, then start taking the bigger minions on the first pick.
Right, and I think it often is what makes that card so fun is that because it's extremely reactive to the board, you're often changing your game plan.
Yeah.
Which is something that Hunter never had to do. Hunter was always very, well, if I got the board, I kill him. If I don't, try to use my damage and potentially count my race.
Yeah.
See if I can top deck like quick shots and kill commands.
There's not a survivalist feel.
Right, and it was like by always hanging by a thread. This case, Deathstalker Rexar gives you a very fluid game plan, which is something that people love and is actually touted by many as their favorite card of the expansion, me included.
Yes. Mostly you included.
I hope that's a good way to summarize why I love that card and why also there's some interesting situations that came up with it. And also why I'm sad Virtus.pro lost, because no Hunter from Planet Odd's side. They omitted it from their lineup at this stage.
That's right. And now with Planet Odd at a 2-1 lead, Hunter and Rogue have been knocked out of Virtus.pro's lineup. They had their Priest and Druid banned away, and they omit Warlock from their lineup. So now with Planet Odd at a 2-1 lead, the first team to 6 wins is going to take the set. And last hero standing, the winning deck stays on board, the losing deck out of contention.
I mean, how mad can you really be that the Hunter, like, if the Hunter almost beat Rogue and Priest, which would be #1 and #2 decks currently in the meta. So if it was able to beat both, you're getting a little greedy, thinking like, man, I really want to beat it. Granted, Virtus.pro probably should have won that game.
I think so.
And they even had it with, it felt like a lot of the factors were in their control, being able to like dictate certain trades or set up certain pushes, or even something that you were even considering, like, did they Deathstalker Rexar too early, for example, or did they have an opportunity?
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, you could have set up a little bit more board tempo and then use Deathstalker Rexar to push later on stages in the game.
Like, the battle cry from Deathstalker Rexar is not the important part of that card. It can be very important, and I think it's part of what makes it playable, is in the face of pressure, it can sweep the board. But the value that's long-standing with that card is what makes it the card that it is. And so they had board position already. They traded in part of their board position to get the Deathstalker Rexar online. I mean, they fully committed to a value plan there when they could have simply Deadly Shot, played the Bear Shark, hit for 7, and then had 11 damage set up with a Rexar crashing down. And they could have even squeezed in the hero power of 2 damage, or they could have done a Build-A-Beast going into a 9-mana turn. So I think that every situation that you look at and break it down, Virtus.pro at some step of the way was changing their game plan too soon almost in that matchup, and that's why I'm a little bit concerned for it. And then you heard at the end like the tiny bits of communication issues that they were having. Slow
like
down
play this card.
Yeah.
No, wait, play that card. Well, actually, they slowed down too much. They were like roping, and so they said, "Oh, play this beast," and and they played the other one. It's like, "No, I want you to play this one," and they're like, "Yeah, I think this one's better." They were out of time. Just to kind of wrap it up, I actually think that decision was very close to play Death Stalker Rexar early, as currently we're waiting for one of the teams to reconnect here. I think the power of Deathstalker Rexar. I compare it to Drax's, where like sometimes if you can get on a clean board and you're even ahead on board, it's good. And if you give Rogue the opportunity to come back, especially if you have 2 2s and 3 2s, it doesn't feel the most safe if they pick up like SI7 agent and backstab, or if they pick up things equivalent of that nature. So they found an opportunity to drop Deathstalker Rexar where they're ahead on board and they still have a couple of cards like Deadly Shot in their arsenal. I don't blame them for going for it, but it is worth reevaluating if maybe they could have been even more patient, which we saw yesterday. Even winning 1 turn, despite the fact that it's a good play now, can turn into the game-winning play.
I totally agree with that. Patience is key. Recognize your opportunities is key. They had I think all of their game plans were winning game plans, but they gave the Rogue enough time, and sometimes miracles happen.
All right, well, now we get to see Rogue at its highest power level possible.
Oh, boy.
Prince Keleseth plus Shadow Step is the biggest way to blow out a victory for Rogue. And this is a matchup where Shaman excels at. So, I don't think Shaman has the biggest edge against Rogue, but when you start playing Shadow Step and Prince Keleseth together, it can get nasty pretty quick.
Also, Galaka Crawler in here, though. That's a very unconventional choice for Shaman.
That's true.
This is aimed at fighting Rogue.
Yes.
More so than it typically is. And Planet Odd going to hang on to the SI7 agent in hand as well.
Yeah, that's also pretty interesting. Unless they had made their mulligans preemptively and we didn't see it.
That's a possibility as well.
Yeah. I like the Galaka Crawler list. I know that Always Lucky, who got #1 Legend a few days ago and also is still sticking within top 5, I think, as we speak. And I've climbed to around top 200 Legend with it just this past week. Does play the Galaka Crawler deck, and it's primarily a nod to all of the decks that run Blisshill Corsair patches or some combination thereof. There's so many Pirate decks. There's even Pirate Warrior still on ladder. I ran one this morning. And
still a good deck.
It's a good deck.
Yeah.
It's Hearthstone,
Yeah.
It's only a game.
Yeah. Why you have to be mad?
Why you have to be crap? Galaka Crawler is a really good card in the current meta right now, and I think Shaman excels a lot.
Draws backstab as well. This is a spicy turn. Oh, here's why they kept the SI7 agent. Prince Keleseth, Shadow Step. They don't have to play it again right away. They could have just held it and played the SI7 agent.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's clever.
That's a good play.
It's a good line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's something I would have considered doing for sure.
Well, it's just one of those creative plays that when we see it the first time, we're like, that's brilliant. And then when we see it afterwards, like, that's BS.
So listen to the Virtus.pro. This is a rough start for them.
So what's the last one? Last card to backstab?
Play
it, don't play it. Yeah.
I mean, if he has SI, it makes sense not to play it.
Do you actually want to eat the crab right now?
No,
I like eating the crab.
I think we will have to eat the patches that comes charged out.
Okay.
The patch is going to be 3/3 at a point whenever it comes charged out.
Yeah.
So we'll have to eat that.
Wait, is 1/2 dagger, never mind. Okay. Yeah, just Prince SI.
Backstab 1/1?
No. We keep backstab for backstab SI next turn.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine.
We kill the pirate over the totem right there. Sure. Kill the puncher.
This guy's toast.
Keep in mind that they have to play on Devolve a bit. Like even
Do you coin hero power?
I think you go in hero power first if it's spell power, then you use the portal If not, then you use the flame.
Yeah. Any other players? Probably no.
These lightings were worse. Yeah, I like. Yeah. Next turn, you're probably gonna Galaka and hero power. Go hero power. Power.
So coin portal, right?
Yeah, coin portal.
That's not very good.
But it's gonna be a really big minions from now on.
Kill the spell power and the 1/1.
Yeah. Actually, what does the spell power do? Do you maybe kill the taunt totem instead?
Do like. Did you kill like what mana types?
Yeah.
I guess nothing changed with.
Wait, what about just backstep dagger?
Yeah, backstep dagger seems good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we also build on resources. Yeah.
Okay.
Top deck backstep.
I don't really like the totem they rolled so far this game.
I think we can complain.
No.
I like that, 6-0 is known to voice his opinions on, the outcomes of what happens, and it's funny that it's always like, well, we can't complain. We got Skeleton Shadow Step. Like, what else do we really want in our opening hand?
I think their opening hand has been fine. Virtus.pro's trying to fight this from a tempo battle.
Right.
And so it's kind of strange because Shaman's in this situation where one of the stronger things you can actually do against it is sometimes nothing. You wait to do multiple things in one turn so that way their tempo plays aren't as strong. The problem with that is if they have pressure to compound that with, then you're under the threat of Bloodlust. That's part of what makes Shaman just a powerful deck, is its ability to take the time.
Well, what's so frustrating from Planet Odd's point of view is that using SI and backstab to kill totems is not really what you want to be doing. And Shaman has really good reactive cards with Jade Lightnings or Jade Claws or Flame Tongue totems to help get value trades.
And every single turn that happens, the range is unidentified from Virtus.pro. They don't know whether those are Jade Lightnings or if they're Doppelgangster Evolve. Both of those steps are very powerful ones to take, and Planet Odd has to decipher them as they move along. The closer you get to that turn 6 point, and you haven't forced anything from Virtus.pro, almost the more likely it is that you start approaching the losing game scenario where you cannot recover.
Some interesting positioning from Virtus.pro to diversify their trade assets with the Flame Elemental going in the middle here. Also maybe throwing off the scent a little bit from Planet Odd.
It's accounting a lot for 5 health minions in this spot, where they can trade in one of the 1/2s and the totem to get this done. I don't think it matters whether or not they trade off the Firefly or the Flame Elemental, but that's like something they're thinking about randomly.
And Southsea Captain was drawn, and we saw the hold from the Galaka Crawler either on Captain itself, which is now a 5/5, by the way, and then Patches comes out as a 4/4.
3/3 right. Oh, it comes out as a 4/4 because of the Captain, right.
Yeah. So, Galaka Crawler going to be a massive swing here.
Yeah. Of course, for Planet Odd, I don't foresee them using the Backstab this turn. They really want to couple Backstab with the Vile Spine Slayer coming up.
Do you even use Galaka Crawler here? Kind of. I guess you should.
I think you definitely do.
Yeah. I was thinking like maybe you take it a little slow in Jade Lightning here, but Galaka Crawler Flame Tongue is really nasty.
Holding onto the Flame Tongue was key too. They had an opportunity to pressure, but again, taking it slow in this matchup is really the big key. You have to have the right tempo swings.
Unbelievable. Rogue could have picked the first 3 cards that they drew going first, and I think it's pretty hard to pick anything besides Prince Keltich, Shadow Step, and an SI7 agent. Maybe you can replace
Second Shadow Step?
Yeah, but then you need to draw. Then you're like out of cards, like kind of double Wild Growth. You need to like draw really well from that point. SI at least gives you
your minions are +3/+3. They draw pretty well.
The SI gives you game planning against Shaman, which is really nice. And yet Shaman's still winning the board by and even threatening a potential like big burst with Bloodlust here at this point.
The pickups from Planet Odd at this point, if they can go parity on board, they're going to be in a fantastic spot. So here the Backstab takes out the Flame Tongue, the Vile Spine swings the Galaka right back, and they're now once again in a somewhat favorable position. So Jade Lightnings here are going to have to do a lot of lifting here. Let's listen to the BP. Their hand's still pretty good.
How do you like doing this?
Just go and Lightning.
For the next turn, you have again 6 HP. I want to get the below. Like, the best scenario is to get rid of the whole board, but we can't do that, right?
No,
wait, can do like playing theme from below and Jade Lightning?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Or it's hero power lightning, but yeah, don't really like that. Hero power. Then we not keep putting the thing from below down. I like Jade Lightning and thing from below. They must have the bone mare. The next turn we can go Jade Lightning and the weapon.
Oh.
Do we play that?
Oh, because of the build?
Yeah.
I think we do, right?
Do we maybe hold the Guardian? Like Firefly? Yeah, I like holding the Guardian. Firefly, token, SI, trade, attack the 1/2 redagger.
Yeah, because then if you top deck white, it's also.
It's like, yeah, if any minion survives, you can value trade heal the minion.
Yeah. So we keep Guardian, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you disagree.
And Prey token?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, you already play the portal, so if he devolves, it's a good chance that the 1/1 still sticks.
Ha, this guy's toast.
Just clear the 1/1.
Choose soon.
So Jade
Lightning. Yeah. You can just give it a while. Just a bit.
It's just Jade Lightning and Jade Claws, right?
Nah.
No, please don't die. Please.
I'm not dying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you like.
Nah, you're just making fun of me. I'm just, yeah, I was thinking that's the second Slayer. I would be really sad about it. Very sad.
I mean, they have one Shaman card in hand, and then of course one card that they top deck now, but.
Man, Planet Odd still kind of piecing together a game plan. I like that even if things are looking bleak, they're still trying to squeeze out as much as they can from every single card that they get. But Cold Blood off the top means that their game plan is fairly linear.
Yeah. Well, Virtus.pro drew Galactic Crawler as well. Second Galactic Crawler is not necessarily strong in this spot.
Yeah. Well, I believe the second Galactic Crawler isn't because you're trying to kill pirates that much, but because you're trying to increase your chance of drawing one.
Oh, yeah. Chalky's actually a big proponent of that. Like cards that you only want to draw one copy of, you still play two anyway because you just really want to draw them.
Yeah, and the list that I mentioned before, Always Lucky, actually I think only runs one, at least when he posted the list. But yeah, and for people wondering, you usually replace the Serenite Chain Gang.
Yeah,
because that card is purely anti-aggro, and even that. Is it really anti-aggro? I don't know. It's a bad card. It's an okay card. It's an okay card.
Yeah, and I think Planet Odd's got to save the Cold Blood here in case they draw their other Vile Spine. Like, they're just operating on so thin resources.
Interesting.
Primal Fin Totem, a much more reasonable pickup. You know, this is fitting more into their game plan where they just finally start to cement some board presence. At this point, Virtus.pro's draws, on average, I think are worse than Planet Odd's. But in the right outcomes, I think Virtus.pro just finds so many ways to turn this back around. And the big one to me is that Planet Odd's going to have to keep using this dagger to fight for board, and eventually that's going to cost them a bit.
Well, originally I was thinking, like, well, would you even use Bloodlust to clear the board in this position?
I don't mind it.
And it almost feels like you can win just with Galactic Crawler and Primal Fin, but it's just it doesn't show you immediately how to win.
Yeah. So if you Bloodlust here, the 3/3 trades over the 2/4 in this spot, so you're left with a 3/1. The Healing Totem trades into the SI7 agent. So the question here is, would you rather totem up and try to get some stuff, or would you rather start getting the Primal Fin totem rolling? Because the decision for Planet Odd would be split on their dagger. Do they kill the 1/1, do they kill the 3/1, or do they keep working?
Well, that changes a lot now.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I said prior to drawing this turn, because I think Primal Fin Totem, what it allows you to do is threaten Bloodlust for the win.
That as well. I mean, they roll a taunt totem here, suddenly Planet Odd's under just pressure that way. And I think with the 1 card remaining in hand, they're probably reading it somewhere close to about what it is. You know, what card would have Planet Odd just simply held onto that turn and played so weakly to the board with? Very likely not a lot of cards. So I think Cold Blood very much in Virtus.pro's mind.
Well, the problem with Cold Blood is that Taunt Totem doesn't actually let him get anything significant. Play Silence is just pretty much a chill win Yeti. The combo effect's really good if you're trading in small tokens.
Chill and Plaguey.
5 plus 12 is 17, so they're 2 damage off lethal.
Devolve helps him keep the board, though.
It does help him keep the board. The average stat line for a 2-mana minion is usually actually a 2/2.
Yeah, I mean, that pulls a lot of power and health off the board, too.
Another Taunt Totem.
I want to see Devolve here really bad from Virtus.pro. 4/5 is threatening.
No, I actually think that maybe even going blood. You send your opponent to 2, right? If you go all face.
That's another mistake. Oh my gosh, Armorsmith.
Oh boy.
This is a mistake I see from a lot of players too. Is win to Bloodlust. If Virtus.pro believes that they can get more damage in with this, sure, go ahead and save it. But to 12-point Bloodlust, it's really tough to get more damage than that.
Well, if you have Primal Fin Totem, maybe not so much.
The other thing, too, though, is that Bloodlust provides some value here as well. I mean, killing the Armorsmith is important. You have the Taunt Totem in the way.
True. And you also have a value trade as well to not use it. So let's go ahead and listen in and see what the teams are thinking.
Look, Cold Blood is, of course, bad against Apex decks, right?
Maybe that's the second debuff.
Yeah. So bad. I like.
Ah,
okay.
You play
that, obviously. Kill the 1/1 again.
Like even if
we get a 6-drop and a 1-drop.
Yeah, it's not
obviously
good.
It would be void. I mean,
Bloodlust, go. Yeah, Bloodlust, trade.
Whole box, guys.
Mm-hmm.
$6-11.
I think we also play the cards here.
Yeah, you do.
Even though it makes no difference, really.
One.
I guess we just attack a Totem Wheel dagger.
Play. Not sure if he would have used the Slayer if he had the chance.
I think you still play it. We need to kill them first. There was one Slayer already. Heal Totem. Do we get lucky, at least in some of the games? At least once. We just got lucky with the Spell Power Totem, that's it.
The Spellpower Totem is pretty good, yeah. I mean, I would also take a Mana Tide here, or Thrall, honestly, or Aya.
Or Devolve.
Flame down?
Our Devolve was rather weakly placed.
Flame down, please come. No, Bloodlust. Yeah, Bloodlust. Just Bloodlust, please. Come on. Okay, you trade with everything and you play the Doppelganger. Trade the thing from below, 1/1s, and play Doppelganger and Hero Power. No, maybe you don't really... Do you want a Hero Power? I think Hero Power is better. Totem is 2 HP instead of 1 Murloc. Yeah.
But the Murloc synergy with Diamond.
Yeah, just Hero Power. Don't like monarchs.
So the totems usually don't die to the weapon, except for this one.
Well, what started off as a fast and furious game is now, limping to the finish line at this point. Planet Odd picks up great synergy with Bone Mares and Shadow Steps, but no targets. Where's the Piranha Launcher when you need one?
I'm kind of surprised at how good it was, honestly.
Yeah.
Bone Mare really changes my mind on that card somewhat. Like, I'm actually just going to try that.
In Hunter?
Yeah.
Like a slower Hunter mid-range?
Well, probably just like the same old Hunter. I just probably just put in 2 Piranha Launchers.
Then why not just play, like, Stranglethorn Tiger so you can land Bone Mare on that?
Well, the launcher, like, fights, though. Like Shaman, for instance.
Is it really fighting, though?
Kills all these 2/2s.
You can't. It's 4 turns of swinging, and you're gonna take a lot. Okay. All right. Maybe if Piranhas had charge.
Should have charge. That's a sad dagger hit.
Yeah. Nothing going on here. Virtus.pro looking for any damage towards Bloodlust really close the game. Oh, well, that's actually a funny scenario that's introduced with a board state that's too full and something that's, Hearthstone has introduced. The fact that you only have 7 minions, can't play anything else if it's full. So your damage capability is limited to only that.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time if you have 7 minions, you're pretty okay with that.
Yeah, well, tell that to the old Fatigue Warriors. That was okay with taking 1/1s.
Well, here we go.
Van Cleef? Shadow Step, Van Cleef, Bone Mare? No, do you want to just...
mana for that.
Oh, you're right. It'd be 1 off.
Now, 9/9, though, stays alive, or I'm sorry, 8/8 stays alive on board right now.
Yeah. It's actually...
Oh!
Wait, there's still a taunt that can come out the other side.
6 drop, 2 drop.
There's like Ancient of Blossoms. And there
Not gonna
it
do
is.
it. Surrender, head in the hands. Not like this. Virtus.pro ties it up at 2 games apiece. They'll stay on Shaman. Rogue is out of contention. First team to 6 wins going to take this set here.
Outside of the Hunter versus Priest matchup, every game has been very close back and forth. But holding serve to what the teams want. They lost the first game. Virtus.pro lost the first game, and so they immediately killed the Priest with the Hunter. And then their opponents answer with Rogue, which is a favorable matchup. And now they're answering with Shaman, which is a favorable matchup. Yesterday, it wasn't the case. Yesterday, we saw a lot of people queue up a favorable matchup and then lose despite that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was a blowout. Like, hey, this is a good matchup for us, but we lost convincingly by like turn 5.
Yeah.
What happened? Is it just our deck, or maybe did we play it correctly, or did we just get unlucky? Not really the case here. So even though the action has been frenetic, it's just been everything's going as expected.
The other thing too is how big of a role Galaka Crawler actually played as a tech card in that matchup. The swing from Vilespine I think would have been too much if they didn't kill the captain super efficiently on that turn, and that was with a Prince Keleseth Shadow Step SI7 agent start from Planet Odd.
All right, well, that is going to be Game 4 in the books, and now the best of 11 turns to a best of 7. So when we come back, we're going to find out what happens. More action in Trinity Series Season 2 right after this.
I seeing this?
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Welcome back, everybody, to Trinity Series Season 2. I hope you guys enjoyed that brief intermission. And now we're back for more Hearthstone action here between Virtus.pro and Planet Odd Esports. Currently tied 2-2. Very fun games back and forth. If you missed the first few, you should go back and watch them. It pretty much had everything that you come to expect, some high-level plays, a little bit of faltering here and there. That's the costly errors, some crazy comeback and swings. Couldn't be more excited. But at the same time, it feels like the expected's happening. Almost like it's a scripted movie in a sense, where you know things are bad, but in the end, it still ends up okay for somehow. But for the team that you're expecting to win,
yeah, it's been awesome so far. These games have been incredible. Of course, thanks to ESL, Twitch, and Intel for putting this event on. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. These guys are gladiators in our arena.
That's right, and
thanks to those guys.
They're going to continue the action back and forth. I do want to point out, by the way, for the team dynamics that are going on at Admirable, Surrender is really doing well communicating. I think there was some concerns, at least from our end, who've only interacted with Surrender on a formal basis. You know, we've talked to him a couple times at events. I talked to him at Star Ladder, for example. Will talked to him at the Summer Championship. And on Skype, but you know, we weren't sure how good his command of English was, given the limited exposure. However, we've been reassured that his English is good enough from like his teammates, and listening to them communicate, not only is he able to talk about his ideas, but he's able to understand a lot of the dialogue. And you know, Sixo and Hoy are talking really fast, and he's still able to like understand all the plays and directions and be able to, you know, communicate them back. So I think that was very, very impressive, considering that a lot of South Koreans and just Asians in general have a hard time sometimes communicating that.
Yeah, that's part of the benefit that them having been a team for so long, is they're used to that. You know, Sixo and Hoy, not to say anything against them, they have pretty thick accents. I've spoken with Sixo a number of times and played games with him, just, you know, messing around. Sometimes I don't hear what he says because of an accent. And the fact that Surrender's been working with Hoy and Sixo for such a long time, I think it makes it much easier for them.
Right, and of course we know Virtus.pro communicates pretty effectively, considering that they got third last year.
Oh boy, look at that hair.
And here we go, Sixo dressed up. It was his birthday a few days ago.
Oh, happy birthday, Sixo.
And he has dyed his hair in honor of Planet Odd. That is
12 now?
He was 12 last year. He's 13 in May.
Yeah.
And
this guy's a jokester.
Sixo, of course, dyed his hair in theme of Planet Odd. People might be wondering, you know, what's the green yellow?
Is that a drawing?
Is he Irish?
Is that a drawing of Sifka in the background?
Hopefully. And it looks like Sixo is going to be queuing up the Warlock up against Shaman. Warlock, one of the most powerful classes. So here we go. A big answer from Planet Odd up against Shaman, a class that, in my opinion, is one of the better fitted ones in the post 9.1 meta.
And that's what this match has been so far. It's been back and forth counters. I think game number one opened up as a slight disadvantage for Virtus.pro with Tempo Rogue versus Priest. And the match was super close. Planet Odd pulled it out in a nail biter. But since then, it's been counter. I mean, as soon as one of these chains gets disrupted, that's really the big talking point here. But if it keeps going back and forth this way, Planet Odd will win out this way. That's the benefit of taking game one. The Galaka Crawlers in this matchup, though, big hurt for Virtus.pro.
And I would say that it's been counter, but even the Rogue versus Shaman game, Rogue was maybe one card or one slow turn away from being able to actually firmly win the board, because they had Prince Kellis' Shadow Step SI7 agents into a Vile Spine with a guaranteed activation with Backstab. Like, that's a really hard opening to stop.
Yeah, they need to not draw the Cold Blood, not draw the second Shadow Step at that stage of the game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even then, they still had Salcy Captain come as a 5/5 with Patches drawn as a 4/4. It's like they had pretty much all the ideal conditions met. So that was also a close game, despite the fact that counters went down.
I want to speculate a little bit here. Blood Mage, not always a strong choice here. Earth Ring Farseer, not always included in these decks. Could this be a Kazakus Warlock? Let's listen to Virtus.pro, see how they want to take this early game.
Spoiler, it's not.
Totem. Right? Primal Fun.
You could have a weapon. Yeah. I thought actually...
I mean, that's the reason why like Galaka is actually not so bad, because they contest the 2 early minions that they can have.
Yeah, but Monata is much better, and this totem is also better. He's going to be clearing the Morlocks.
Like, it's a little bad to Jade Claw, but not really.
We could trade coin fast here. I like that.
No.
Because I can't Jade Lightning yet, so the 3-3 always kills the totem next turn.
3.
Yeah, I like Pastia here.
Yeah, maybe that's fine.
My eyes are open.
You'll play one tide.
Can we just play Mana Tide, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Job done.
No, the next turn we roll spell power.
What does it even do? It doesn't even do anything.
It's gonna kill.
Yes, now we just tap. He's very likely to be Jade Lightning next turn. Let's just assume he always plays Jade Lightning next turn. How good is Silence Mortal Coil to kill both totems then? It's pretty good.
Because then you can Jade Lightning.
Yeah, I feel like trade into like if you leave the Primal Totem up and just tap, then he plays Jade Lightning and we can't kill the totem again. I think it's just Silence Coil.
Yeah, I like it. And kill all the totems.
Yeah.
Hero power, right?
Yeah, I like hero power.
If it's a spell power, we're gonna play Mana Tide. If not, then we're gonna play the second totem. And the next turn we can go Mana Tide, hero power.
Gonna 5 mana. Or 4 mana only.
Yeah, I mean like for the next turn, you can just go Mana Tide and hero power and just play Thing from Blow. But yeah, over here hero power first for sure.
We just portal,
Yeah,
right?
just play.
Portal?
Why do you want a portal?
What does
I
Primal
don't like
do?
portal. Just keep damage away from F8.
But
And
we want to
just-
get back the board, right?
Isn't better play totem?
What does the totem do?
What does portal do?
It does 3 damage. It's more than the Primal Fund totem. Does 1 damage.
Okay, play the portal.
So Shaman looked like it's struggling a lot here. Planet Odd doesn't have to even fight too much for the board tempo, as they can just, or at least they don't have to react to it, as they've got some really powerful stuff coming up here. Now, interesting to note is that we've been seeing more Happy Ghouls tech into the Warlock. What do you think about this card, Admirable?
I think it's interesting. If you're not willing to play Galactic Crawlers to fight against Pirates, I think Happy Ghoul fits that bill fairly well, where you're still trying to get pressure, and there's a lot of cool tools you can still couple it with. Say your Mistress survives for a turn or so, you get a couple life taps, you get to attack with the Mistress of Mixtures, play a Happy Ghoul from it. Drain Soul, it couples with, even just the Earthring Farseer with Happy Ghoul. There's a lot of ways to cheat curves, and traditionally those have been some of the most powerful cards in Hearthstone.
Yeah. Cool tool for your Ghoul. Virtus.pro, of course, a little upset with seeing so many 1 health or 1/1s come out of the portal because they're afraid of Despicable Dreadlords, which, again, to answer your previous question, double Twilight Drake. We saw double Despicable Dreadlords in the opening hand.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Kazakis Cruel Warlock.
I missed that.
It's not a cool tool for your Happy Ghoul.
It's not a cool, cruel tool for your Ghoul.
You fool.
You fool. It's not the right booled. All right, that was
we went one rhyme too deep.
I do want to mention too that Virtus.pro, as the matches get tighter, we saw this a lot in Season 1. They start to really get serious and stop joking as much.
For sure, they've been they were a little loose in the beginning, and now it's tightening up a lot.
Loosey goosey.
Serenite Chain Gang. Well, I guess it's just because Fellhound is so risky with their hand.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, because I was thinking, oh, Fellhound is a demon, right? And then you can summon it back with Gul'dan, but it discards
Yeah,
Gul'dan.
unless you're Brian Kibler, you're not really willing to take that risk.
I mean, I've been seeing Kibler stream Quest Warlock a lot, and he discards both River Gul'dan like half the time, and he still wins against Priest. Well, it blows my mind.
His deck is pretty well equipped for Priest. That's another side story. Long story short, Quest Warlock, not very good, but if you're Brian Kibler, you can win some games with it.
Against Priest, it's just because the permanent imps and they hero power twice usually if it's like a grindy matchup.
Yeah.
And anyways.
I just want to talk about how cool the metagame is.
Well, I think the diversity, at least for the first 2 weeks after patch, has been phenomenal. It's almost reached the apex of Ungoro, where every class has a viable deck you can play and multiple ways to build it.
Yeah, to me, this is by far the most diverse tournament metagame that we've ever had.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and check in back with the players and see how their team dynamics are shaping up.
Would I as well, right? Since this trade make no sense because against the fire out track still dies. I killed the 5-4 then procs again. So yeah, this was just stupid. Anyway, Siphon Drake, right? I mean Siphon Ghoul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're playing very poorly right now.
It's playtime.
Just bump Anya and go freeze.
But then we also play Firefly, right?
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, play it.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Job done.
Bissell here. Yeah, Bissell's
it's pretty good. I just want to do it, yeah.
Awesome,
okay, right?
Yeah,
it's not.
So like because of Bloodlust. Let's not overthink this.
That's if I would argue, is it that clear?
Encouraging.
Okay, let's get the Bissell.
Prime full hero power. Yeah.
I think everything.
I wouldn't play everything.
Don't we just accept that we lose to Hellfire?
We have a chance if we get a wolf. Hero power first, let's see. Just keep the flame elemental, I guess. Power.
Do you wanna... I think I also play Jake Claws, honestly.
Okay, yeah. Do it. Wait, maybe bumping the 6-6 is better. No, I mean like bumping the
You have to be like the scared of Devolve.
Devolve Bloodlust Flame is the maximum damage. Actually, yeah, but how much is that?
Trade 3-3, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna trade into the 3-3 no matter what.
But do we silence our Twilight Drake potentially then? I think so, since like against Devolve it's the same, and trading with Changing is so bad for him.
How much damage do they have if they have just Bloodlust Devolve? 4, 8, 12, 16, 19, 21, right? So
yes. But then with Bloodlust we could die.
They have a bad hand, so they could definitely have those cards in hand.
We could also just tap Changing Trains. So
Almost out of time.
Just kind of weak because we don't have any board clears anyway. So like if they get like Flame Tongue and Value
Just
Trade.
Spellbreaker and gang here.
Twilight or Spellbreaker?
Spellbreaker.
Your magic shall not save you.
Man, tough spot here for Planet Odd. They don't actually have a lot of the AoE cards. Flame Tongue, Bloodlust is exactly like part of the big burst that you're afraid of. The Saturday Night Chain Gang, though, coming in pretty clutch here.
18 damage for Virtus.pro. Planet Odd, of course, was worried about Devolve in this spot. If they don't find a taunt from the Devolve, it means that Devolve Bloodlust represents 15, 19, 20, 21 damage.
But look at the trades that's offered now.
It's big, but Virtus.pro is really running out of stuff. Now, they did get the word that Planet Odd does not have a board clear here, so they are free to trade this down and then Doppelgangster and threaten again. So Planet Odd is in a really tough spot here, despite Virtus.pro sort of stumbling in the beginning and Planet Odd having a good matchup here. You know, you heard Bunny Hopper say it. I think we just accept that we lose to Hellfire here. And that's the risk you have to take when you're playing aggressive decks. You will have to just plow stuff onto the board sometimes and hope that it works.
Side effects? No. Trust
And Planet Odd knows that they just have to survive. I don't mind tossing this Drain Soul around.
Not at all. I mean, even if you just see Evolve as a top deck from Virtus.pro, that's bad news. So here, does Virtus.pro think they're ever getting a better Bloodlust than this? The demons that have died so far, Voidwalker and Abyssal Enforcer. That's it. So very little protection offered. So they push forward down 22. They get the thing from below down. They have Bloodlust, and that represents 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 damage.
Opponents heal for 4, though, and they also gain 5 pleasurable then.
Yeah, so they'll have 18 damage set up with Planet Odd having 26 health, plus the 5 more if Blood Reaver Gul'dan is there. Excuse me, it'll be 21 damage with the totem as well. So setup still fairly good, and unless Planet Odd draws AoE here, I think they have to go for Blood Reaver Gul'dan.
Blood Reaver Gul'dan every time because the hero power also helps push you out of range. So let's go ahead and listen into the teams and see how they're going to play the last stages of this game here.
Funny how we just dodge all our AoE. I mean, we had a decent early game, not complaining too much, but last cards in the deck are like all removal.
A lot of value in our hand, so tapping is not that important.
I know, it was just about trying to play the Lich King.
But
do we want to devolve?
Do? I'm pretty sure we don't want
Probably
to
no. No need to devolve, I think.
So how do you want to trade? We're gonna have to trade 2 minions into the 6/6. I don't like that.
Can you just go face?
I mean, I guess we can just Bloodlust and go all face.
But there's gonna be 1 free minion on the board.
You kill it with the totem.
Yeah, with the 0/3 totem. I mean...
I guess we play that.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So we just have higher defender.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, no, we don't take. Fine. Tar Lurker?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Monkey? Okay, like, that's... Like, this card has been in the game for, like, 4 years. Never saw play. I think we have to, like, give some tribute to it.
I believe that Kranich lost to a Silverback Patriarch, or Firebat rather, lost to a Silverback Patriarch.
Almost hoisted!
When Kranich got a Silverback Patriarch off of a web spinner.
Yeah. But I still like to see the tribute to it.
I like it too.
Timely draw for Hellfire, but I think Planet Odd was still in a favorable position even without it. Virtus.pro backs against the wall. They had 1 Bloodlust left.
Yeah.
They had no Aya, no Thing from Belows. You know, maybe an Evolve pickup could have changed that, but wow, that was looking brutal towards the end of the game, and that's really what the Warlock deck is meant to do. Pick apart the early board synergy and still have recovery potential.
The win rate for Shaman is abysmal against Warlock, and the only cards that even climb even to a positive win rate against it is Doppelgangster Evolve and Flametongue Totem. Those are the only cards that you can rely upon in that matchup. Bloodlust, of course, is a card that can win you the game, but it needs so much conditional setup to get to that point, and you're not really expecting Shaman to beat it. So the role of Shaman's done. It's taken out a very high priority deck in the Tempo Rogue, but dropping a Warlock, there's no shame in that.
No, not at all.
How does Virtus.pro react now? Because originally they have decks and classes like Hunter, but how does their mage fare? Are they playing an aggressive list? Are they playing a defensive slower list?
I think any of the mage lists operate pretty well because Quest Mage is that's a very strong matchup versus Warlock. You look at the control mages, they will typically always run a big burn package. So you're looking at 2 Firelands Portals, 2 Fireballs, 2 Frostbolts, maybe Pyroblasts top end, plus what they can find off glyphs. Even just the aggro rogues. If you look at a good secret start, that is enough damage to follow up just the natural draw potential you have with, again, the big burn package, the Fireballs, the Frostbolts, the Firelands Portals, etc. I think Mage is just the call here.
How did Virtus.pro heal? Oh, is that the totem healing?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense.
I think
like, how did they heal for 1 as Shaman? But yeah, here's like a little bit of stats just to give you guys an outlook of how that game was played out there. And of course, some of the keys to victory there as a Shaman is to constantly flood the board with hero powers. It's something that a lot of players don't do enough. If you're trying to fight for board presence without overextending into a board against a class like Warrior or Warlock that have so many ways to clear your board, and even Mage to a certain extent, make sure to budget your resources and utilize that threat of totems dating back to last year. Now, going back into what we have here coming back from Virtus.pro, they have Mage, but they also have a couple of other classes available to them. And one of the things that one of the classes we expected to be a heavy lifter from yesterday was Paladin, because Murloc Paladin tends to not be answered, but both teams are waiting for a while to bust out Murloc Paladin. What kind of pocket do you think they're waiting for some of these classes?
Well, I'm curious if they are Murloc Paladins. It's possible that they're not.
True.
From these guys. But the other thing, too, is that I don't think Murloc Paladin has really had the right spot to be queued up here. Against Warlock, it's not a favorable matchup. And down 3 games to 2, Virtus.pro really needs to queue up a counter here. And again, this is the first team to win 6 games. Takes the set. And in last hero standing, the deck that wins stays on board, and the deck that loses is out of contention. So with Mage, Paladin, Warrior, and Warlock remaining for Planet Odd, Murloc Paladin's matchups, I think, are looking at the mirror match, Mage, and Warrior. The Warlock is really the last one here. And from Planet Odd side, they're looking at Warrior, Paladin, and Mage remaining for Virtus.pro. So likely similar cases for both Paladins if they happen to be Murloc Paladins.
Well, we'll see. Planet Odd has the edge, and if things continue to go according to the last hero standing theory, it's just that Planet Odd will have the last say and have the biggest advantage unless it goes down to a mirror. Sometimes that can happen where no one really had decisive advantage from the beginning because they planned out their lineups fairly balanced. And the theory behind last hero standing and how to properly build a lineup is to make sure that you at least have 2 answers to things in case a failsafe falls through. But if they don't, what ends up happening very often is you have a very similarly matched final game, assuming that you went even.
Yeah. Now, it is important to be taking these matches decisively sometimes, though. If it comes down to a tiebreaker at the end of the season, it's your win rate overall that's going to be that tiebreaker. So your game score within your matches if you two happen to have the same overall match record.
It's true. I don't know if it's as viable as a strategy to go for in a best of 11 because there's another strategy that you can employ in Last Hero Standing, which is bring decks that are weak to nothing, their worst matchup being like 45%, and then build it to sweep everything. So in the past, people used to view Druid to be this way because they didn't really have that many counters to it. This is back when Force of Nature Savage War was a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Druid was considered to be like 47 to 52 against everything because it was just like nothing really countered it, but it didn't really counter anything except for like Handlock. And like Freeze Mage,
Control Warrior.
Yeah, control. But even then, it was like not a decisive advantage compared to other things.
It's matchups that were favorable were slow matchups. And slow matchups were starting to get pushed out of the metagame due to how refined the aggressive decks were getting. I mean, early on in Hearthstone, we did not respect the power of keeping board tempo as much as we do today.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why early on, a lot of slower decks dominated.
It's true. So, that's another strategy that people can employ. But in best of 11, we have to bring 6 decks. How do you actually bring something that's like every deck can't have that even spread of matchup?
I want to go back to last season where Complexity won the whole thing, and they had a 50% game win rate. It's the thing about it was they were just taking all of their matches. They were always winning 6-5, 6-5, 6-5.
And they lost like 5-6.
Yeah, and sometimes they would lose outstandingly, but then they would sometimes win outstandingly as well. The goal of tournaments is to win the match, not to win all your games. That tiebreaker score, though, at the end, just a little kicker to think about if it comes to that stage. But Quest Mage versus Warlock here. Tough to find a talking point for this one. Planet Odds back into the wall. They have to find pressure. Let's hear how Virtus.pro starts to execute this combo deck.
You coin tome, we go to 10 cards. So if you ice block now, then you can go coin tome.
I wonder
if you want to do that.
I want to do it.
What did it say?
Ice block now, but the right ice block then. The one that you drew from the Archaeologist. And then you can go coin tome next turn. Just to have more options.
Just Twilight.
Yeah.
Next turn, most likely the Demon, and then tap Twilight Ray.
This is coin tome, right? Still.
Job's done.
Good cards.
That can be decent.
Yeah. That's the keep card.
Unleash me.
So play the glyph.
No.
Well, actually, wait.
I think
it might be the consideration. I like playing Doomsayer now.
Doomsayer
like
now?
He's gonna save us. Yeah, because next turn I'm probably gonna go Blizzard. If they wanna do Siphon Soul, they're gonna lose one of the minions. They will lose. Doomsayers will never proc over here if they give away.
That's true, yes.
You don't really want to
So
play.
I like.
So
Keep you say it again.
But it's still Vaporize plus Doomsayer. Yeah? Or what do you want
Yeah,
to
I
play?
like.
Well, it's not Blizzard next year.
Might be Blizzard.
Blizzard next year.
Do want to point out and a nod to how much the Trinity Series behind the scenes team has been working. We're getting the secret overlays up as well as including the quest overlays. You can see Open the Waygate, Ice Block, and Vaporize there in the bottom left of your screen. And Vaporize, of course, generated off a Kabbalist Tome, counting towards the quest, and also throwing off either of these minions attacking to the face. Virtus.pro, well aware this Doomsayer is going to die, but they want to see if they can get a little more out of their opponents. And the important thing is giving them turns, stalling their opponents.
Yeah, anytime they can buy time, and Doomsayer turning into like effectively a Frost over here, it's a great turn for Virtus.pro. As they scale into heavier mana turns, it means they get to chain together draws and random spells. For them, it's a matter of time until they find Sorcerer's Apprentices, that Archmage Antonidas, and have that one giant turn where it's infinite fireballs afterwards. Planet Odd is in a really tough spot in this matchup because they just don't have strong ways to interact in terms of either pressure or in terms of disrupting the hand.
Well, that was true before they drew Blood Reaver Gul'dan. That actually does give them a tangible way to pressure every turn, very similar to how Hunter and, you know, even Malfurion, the Pestilent, the Druid Death Knight, that's a critical card against Quest Mage a lot of times as the Druid, assuming you're not able to curve out with Jades. And a large reason why, lol, they're not even playing it, and yet they're drawing less. A huge critical component is pressuring the life total, and especially because Blood Reaver Gul'dan doesn't even activate Ice Barrier. That is a downside of Malfurion and Pestilent. You attack into things like Ice Barrier so they don't have to Ice Block in those pinch situations.
Yeah.
That 3 damage per turn will add up, assuming the game goes that long. But even getting 2 or 3 turns of Life Bite? What's the hero power?
I just call it Drain for 3.
Yeah, well, whatever Blood Reaver Gul'dan's hero power is, excuse me for not knowing the name of it, but even that power is really good.
The situation that typically occurs is that Virtus.pro doesn't have a lot of card draw, and instead just has a lot of freeze effects. It often means that once they get to 10 mana, sure, they'll have plenty of stuff to do, but they still need the time.
Here we go. That also could be another powerful card. If Stonehill's Vendor gets the Dirty Rat.
We saw Misfits yesterday Dead Man's Hand very early on in their Warrior deck to just put extra copies of Stonehill in to try to find Dirty Rats. That's really the one way Planet Odd can get an edge in the matchup. But even if they got Dirty Rat, they play it too soon, nothing happens to Virtus.pro's hand. So the timing of Dirty Rat also important. Board is starting to build though, and so Virtus.pro will need to find more freezes. This is their last freeze right now. They have Volcanic Potion to clean up some of this. They have Vaporize down, so they still have plenty of time.
Another interesting facet about the Blood Reaver Gul'dan is against a deck that freezes your deck, you don't actually kill your demons as easily. Playing out, you can see that they're digging deeper into their deck. They're trying to find the answers as well. Like if they find another Stonehill Defender, they can get that Dirty Rat. But for now, just trying to build up more board pressure here.
Yeah, Planet Odd's life total doesn't really matter that much in this matchup. We've seen some circumstances where Quest Mage can pseudo-combo and deliver enough damage rather than infinite damage. But for the most part, Planet Odd is just simply racing for board presence here. So when Virtus.pro's on the chopping block here and they don't have another freeze left, their turn could get tricky. Let's listen in and see how they want to tackle this.
They use the left grip first.
Yeah, left grip.
Explosion is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, that's explosion.
Yeah, take explosion.
Yeah.
And then I think you're
completing the quest.
We're completing the quest, yes.
But
yeah, I think I'm gonna wait. Explosion. Let me just
Volcanic Potion, yes.
Get rid of the cards from the hand. And I wanna intellect right now.
Yeah, draw last. Yeah.
Yeah, draw last. Yeah.
Of course, draw last.
I don't wanna get confused with the cards.
Just point Fellfish, please. Yeah.
Runs out on me.
I need some freeze effects though.
I don't know, I feel like we almost have to play.
So we pace.
Abyssal.
Drainso, Postery, and Abyssal.
Drainso?
Yeah,
Good. And yeah, but I mean, makes me play so fast. Oh, so what secret is it? What's left? Ice block and Spellbender. No, Spellbender would proc there.
Yeah.
What secret is it?
Ice Barrier.
No, we checked for barrier, right? Or didn't we? Oh, I thought we checked for barrier, my bad. Oh. We just didn't go face at all. So
yeah, like
I thought we checked for those.
A good order.
Yeah, perfect positioning for
Good position.
So do you
We don't wanna play the Oracle. Yeah.
I mean, we can just Simulacrum.
Or we can just...
No, for the next turn, we have little already.
Doesn't Simulacrum set up Leapsel? You go up Sorceress, you copy that.
Yeah.
You
But
time
you can't play it right now.
You play Antonidas, you play 3 Firebolts and attack 3 times with the minions.
For the next turn, yes, you have little. Stop it. I'm just curious, like, to play around everything. I mean, the what's called the Eater of Secrets. So I think we go first.
But even if they Eater, they still have to do 6 more damage. I mean, you could Primordial Glyph.
Barrier. Or no, Volcanic Potion is better.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah. And then you Simulacrum.
Yeah, I don't want to play the Oracle.
You can draw cards though. You can draw cards. Doesn't really matter, right? Drawing cards is super stupid. Sorry, my bad. Because we always can do it with 3 Sorcerers. Drawing cards is free.
Yes.
Now we just have
5, yeah. And just do it.
Yeah. Also, Life King can be relevant if you don't get the entire combo.
Not really.
Nah.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, now it's lethal. We have 4 Sorcerers.
That's lethal.
Behold the power of free spells.
Well, just free fireballs. And, you know, kind of important to note that Virtus.pro had a spell to play because they didn't have a playable one besides its Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, if they had Arcane Intellect, actually, they would have been in a tough spot.
And in that case, drawing last was the correct play because you needed to have a spell for the Antonidas. There you go, Chad.
You saw the Meteor positioning as well. Super relevant against a deck that is going to combo you.
I wonder if they want to go for the tilt factor at all. Just kind of fireball everything, fireball your own Antonidas.
If I know Dr. Hippie, that's definitely happening.
Yeah, but he's not piloting. It's naming.
Oh yeah, naming's all business.
You know, clean, efficient, get to the point. And that's game number 6 in the books. Once again, a tied series. And now we get to see a little bit of you know, the evolution here. How do they answer this quest mage? Because now we're starting to run out of options on both sides. Only 3 decks remain on each side.
Yeah, for Planet Odd, you're looking at Warrior, Paladin, and Mage of their own. And those are some tough queue-ups here. I think Paladin might be on deck, but what do you think about this, Dan?
I mean, it depends. Did they bring Pirate Warrior? Pirate Warrior is still excellent against Exodia Mage to try and shut down their quest plans.
I know that these 3 love Pirate Warrior on Planet Odd side, but there's our team that's tied up this series at 3 games apiece. Last year's standing, Mage is going to stay on deck, and that Warlock is out of contention, and we're still racing to that 6-win marker. The first team there takes this set.
Yeah, and they've been picking their pockets and their spots really well so far, so things have been working out very well on both sides. It's just about who can break serve first.
Yeah. What matchup are you going with here if you're playing it odd?
If I'm playing it odd, I mean, if I have the Pirate Warrior, I'm going Pirate Warrior to try to shut it down. Sure. I guess the thing about Pirate Warrior is that it's no longer as good as it was against Murloc Paladin and had an edge for sure, but without Fiery War Axe, and now that you're kind of in limbo with how you want to build your decks, and because of the prevalence of Golakka crawlers, it feels like Pirate Warrior has lost a huge step there. I don't think it's as guaranteed against Murloc Paladins as it used to be. But against Exodia Mages, it feels like it's much more guaranteed because it's still a very powerful matchup and it's like 80-20.
Let's put ourselves in a world where it's not Pirate Warrior. You think you're going with Murloc Paladin in that case?
Maybe. I think Murloc Paladin also has not that many great matchups, but it's also not like super unfavored against anything because yesterday we saw turns 1 through 5, you can still get a really good curve.
Yeah, and against Quest Mage, it applies a lot of pressure, and I don't really know the exact math on the matchup of.
Yeah, what do you think the percentages are these days on some of the Murloc Paladin?
I don't actually. Production, do we have the stats for Murloc Paladin versus Quest Mage? Do we have that available? Okay. Take this. And according to this scroll made of thick ancient papyrus, it looks like it's about 56.33, repeating of course, % chance to actually win the matchup. So I think it's a little bit tough for Murloc Paladin to really pull that out, but in the right circumstance, I mean, I think they're home free when they get that strong 1, 2, 3, 4 start.
Yeah, if you think about how Murloc Paladin functions, it just functions on snowballing the board, and that's why Cold Light Seers have played such a big role these days in being able to get the board control, considering that they lost a health buff from Murloc War Leader. And you also see that they're compensating by, like, you know, trying to put more Finja packages into it, so that way they can actually build more of that presence. They're less on the normal mid-range curve, and they're more all in on pressure.
And we saw yesterday Misfits, they tweeted out their Paladin deck list yesterday. I was really curious about it. They actually didn't run Spike Ridge Steed, and they did have 2 copies of Cold Light Seer in there to fill that role that was taken away when Murloc War Leader in the balance patch lost its health buff.
That's right. And I think, I mean, they have options here, but there's also the other sides of the classes that we don't talk about that much. Yesterday we saw the Fatigue Warrior come out for Tempo Storm. And Fatigue Warrior is a deck that has a lot of polarized matchups. It completely can crush some aggro decks, and also depends on what kind of style of control deck. They can also kill that too by just infinite healthing or gaining infinite armor. And then there's Control Paladin that still has an appearance. There's also Hand Buff Paladin, and I know that sounds really silly because Hand Buff was never really a mechanic super fleshed out from Mitra to Gachisan. We saw the Cabal, we saw Jades come out really well. nothing really out from the Grimy Goons. But hand buffing is still very strong in a deck like Paladin that's Divine Shield and tempo based.
Yeah, I think something that was really missing from hand buff Paladin was the ability to actually improve your future draws. And Prince Kaliseth really filled that role when it came in. The problem with that, in Paladin in particular, is that it starts to compete with the 2-mana 1/1 that buffs your whole hand +1/+1.
Grime Street Outfitter.
And I feel like if hand buff had instead been like top card of your deck buff, it really would have hit the mark there.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it was like having to have the minions in hand gave your opponent information, and it just made it more difficult because you actually had to have the minion in your hand. You know, the idea of this sense of perpetual buffing is that it improves your draw overall. And for hand buff Paladin, it simply improved the draw that you currently had.
All right.
So I think it's a tough build to play if you're not running Kaliseth.
Seems like we're going to go into a mage versus mage. And Planet Odd with Medivh the Guardian, Burgly Bully, it doesn't seem like they're going to play the Quest Mage instead. Looks like it's be a controlled defensive Burn Mage.
Yeah, and this matchup I do think is favored for the Burn Mage, the more controlling style here.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because both teams have Ice Block available to them. When that's the case and both of you are racing towards reducing the opposing life total and then fighting to see who can pop the block first, one of the most important factors is who has more burn in that situation. If Virtus.pro gets a lightning start and they're able to assemble their combo and blow Planet Odd out of the water, they have to have enough fireballs to back it up that they can still push through. And that's a difficult scenario considering that Planet Odd has strong minion pressure. They have more natural burn in their deck. The Cold Light Oracles benefit them almost as much as they benefit Virtus.pro. And so I think in the race to pop the first Ice Block, Planet Odd does have an edge there.
You know, and I think you hit a lot of good categories. It's not a lot of this deck can't win a lot of times with just the damage. It needs minions, and if it and I guess I count Alex Draw as a part of that burn package, so you can find ways to do it. But you know that's why they have Mana Worms and you know even the Pyros and the Burgly Bullies. They need to get some damage in. So the way Virtus.pro can win is to shut down minion damage entirely and force Planet Odd to specifically have the optimal amount of burn to kill them off.
Yeah, like in yesterday's Quest Mage with Tempo Storm, they actually included Frostbolt in their Quest Mage deck. And that's a card that's often been cut from Quest Mage simply because it's not a tool that they need. They don't need to have natural damage in the deck. They need a lot of card draw and a lot of ways to find that. But Virtus.pro, it's tough to say what their deck is. Let's listen to them and see what they think of this matchup so far.
Do you just pass?
Okay.
Do I want to rope the same way?
No.
Okay, let's just...
No, I mean, our turn is obvious, right?
Yeah.
They robbed the first one and didn't play anything. That's right. So they have Arcanologist, right? What else can they have? They were thinking about going out the 3-drop. Going Arcanologist. No, Frostbolt. Well, here I think I go Doomsayer.
It's only second Frostbolt, right? But
It's only
still,
second.
you can go for Snow Doomsayer. Inventory.
What I mean, how are they gonna clear
Yeah, but
only
they can,
the second Frostbolt?
It can be counter spell, so probably Doomsayer.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So Doomsayer?
Yeah.
I like Doomsayer, yeah. Also, I mean, if they go the 3-drop plus spell, then we have a really, really big problem.
What do you do here? Do you do for the counterspell phase, or do we go for the primal glyph?
I think counterspell.
Like that's like even if we get removal from the glyph, like we also
have to
I think like, I like counterspell most.
Yeah, same.
Also, we have a good turn next turn.
Yeah, I mean, probably procs the counterspell this turn, but
yeah.
However, wait. Maybe Nova. Secret Mage doesn't have that many minions.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, when the 5/5 start piling up, you rather want a Frost Nova than Ice Block.
What to do?
No, true.
Job done.
Like if we get a secret, we can battle next turn with the secret. Like,
Yeah, makes sense.
maybe another counterspell or something.
Mirror could be bad with Doomsday, but like
arcane missiles.
Yeah, like Arcane missiles.
I just don't think the secrets do anything. Like they poke the valid, but it's someone who destroys secret anyway.
Whew. That was a blunder.
That counterspell hurts a lot. Now, granted that counterspell is still not always a card that you account for because there's so many other secrets to consider, like ice blocker on your opponent's side or maybe an ice barrier. But that counterspell can be devastating. Granted, out of any mage deck that's able to survive one of their ice blocks being destroyed, I feel like Quest Mage is one of them because of how many ways they can generate random spells from Mage through Cabalist's Tome, Primordial Glyph, Babbling Books. In the past days as well, some of them even ran Shimmering Tempests so that they can get extra Mage spells to play outside their deck. And there was just, it was actually kind of common to see a third or fourth ice block.
Yeah, that is the one saving grace, I think, of the fact that play was there. But they paid no heed to counterspell. They didn't even talk about it. They didn't even
think about it.
Even if the ice block had succeeded in that spot, I still would have called that a blunder because they didn't even talk about it. I mean, we were listening to them from the get-go on that Doomsayer through that turn. No talk or discussion came about that card. They just completely forgot about it.
You know, and I think just to kind of piggyback off your point, that it's important to have that just to understand that you're playing on point and you're considering stuff, so that way you're not neglecting certain things. The nice thing about proccing that counterspell, Valet is not active anymore. It's just a River Chronicle.
Yeah, so there's some redemption factor to it, but we see the Cabal Crystal Runner drawn here for playing at odds, so they are playing a secret-heavy build as well.
No, this is not the... are you sure it's a Control Mage? I don't even think they have Alex Straza in their build. I think this is actually just a Secret Mage that's mid-range.
We called it Control Mage because we saw the Medivh, and Medivh is really the common card in Control Mage that is part of the identifying factor, but Alex Straza definitely is a more distinct identifying card. So when I see the Cabal Crystal Runner here, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think Alex Straza is in this deck. I think Pyros is a nod to that as well, and they're trying to simply press the issue here.
Yeah, I mean, Pyros actually works well as more of an aggressive card, despite the fact that it's so expensive in the late stage of the game, because it gives you so much fuel. Now, Virtus.pro sees a Cabal Crystal Runner. The game plan has changed significantly. Are they going to change anything? Let's listen in.
Sorry, Hippie.
It's not like that. Portal is still not that great.
It would have been insane here.
Like, he would have played, like
it would have been super good.
Played the previous turn. It was better.
Base.
Yeah. So
yeah, you don't really have damage anymore since like the missiles will miss now.
Also, like they can get like counter spells and something from the glyphs that, like the burn plan. I think like if you firebolt kill the Doomsayer, they have to do so many things to stop us. We still like have.
Yeah. I think we kill the
like
firebolt.
If we just go all in and they get like counter spell and such.
Yeah, it's if you don't kill the Doomsayer, he just plays minion, and then our missiles are bad. So I think now we have to kill the Doomsayer. I still really think we should have faced last time with missiles.
Easier. Even easier to say now because we got the counter spell.
I think at Frostbolt, I'm gonna try Intellect and Novice Engineer to get the Frostbolt.
Yeah. You don't want to freeze this board. After you saw Frostbolt and Firewall.
Do you like Volcanic Cold Light now?
I like it. We need to draw faster.
So we play.
Hey, what mana of counter spell will they go face?
Yeah.
Or what do you think, Sixer?
Is mana better than ping? I'm just trying to do the numbers.
And we go face with the 5-3 no matter what, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we ping the 2-2 or do we ping face?
Ping face. But I think Mano is better.
Sure we don't play Finance Portal this turn?
Also Finance Portal face. Like Counterspell will also be fine next turn.
I wonder.
And I don't mind Finance Portal because it's harder to fit in.
I like Counterspell here more.
Okay,
So
let's go with
that's
Swindle.
my one.
Face, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you are on.
So do we just
So the play since.
Probably
do we just be novice now?
Counterspell.
Yeah. So we can play the.
For Counterspell, I'm gonna trade.
You start with novice.
Wait, say it again. What did you say?
You play novice, and if it's not mirror entity,
Yeah,
then you play simulacrum.
it's a miracle.
Yeah, I mean if it gets counterspell, that's alright. And then you nova. Yeah.
Do you want to trade with something?
Yeah, trade.
Why don't you just nova and go face?
With Mono Rim, right? Wait, with 5-3. Why do we want to go face? There's just no
Because
reason to go face.
it could potentially reduce the amount of fireballs we need from 4 to 3. You know, especially now that we don't simulacrum.
Okay, might be true.
Right. I mean, this board.
So I really like what both teams are doing right now. I think Planet Odd is recognizing how awkward their hand is, trying to get efficiency and disrupt their opponent's turn with big damage. And remember what we said, getting any minion damage is the key to burning out, because you can't win just through burn alone usually. But getting in, you know, that Cabal Crystal Runner damage, even that Mana Worm for 3 was huge.
Yes.
And
And on Virtus.pro side, I feel like they actually do have a game plan. This might look terrible for them, but don't underestimate the power of finishing the quest with a couple of Sorcerer's Apprentice and getting Cabal Stones.
I mean, it's guaranteed at least 6 damage, but I actually think that Planet Odd would have rather hit face with all 3 than this circumstance.
Oh yeah, they don't care about minion presence.
Yeah, I mean, because this way they would have had the threat for lethal from hand the following turn 100% of the time. This way, it takes minion pressure. That's not going to happen this turn, as we can see from the hand of Virtus.pro.
Another Molten Reflection.
Oh.
They can do this. I've seen some crazy outcomes.
Oh, but Planet Odd has Ice Block. They pick up another Fireball
that's lethal,
here.
right?
And that's game. Yeah, there's no Ice Block down for Virtus.pro. Oh, no, there's no secret down for Planet Odd, right? Oh, they just had the ping. I was looking at Medu's Valet. Yeah, just the ping. That's going to do it.
GG.
Planet Odd gets the punish on the Ice Block early on with that counterspell. They take Game 7 and a 4-3 lead here. Back and forth set the entire time.
And, you know, this is something that we were talking about, the versatility of classes that's made tournaments very fun to watch and even participate, but also sometimes frustrating to prepare for, because there's so many capable ways for people to build decks that are subtle, that has subtle differences. Honestly, if you look at Secret Mage that compares deck lists, there's only a small package difference that really separates them. They both have Mana Worm. They both have Arcanologists and Secrets. You can even see, you know, Ice Block coming into the hand just because they want to have that extra turn for burn. Those kinds of cards can be extremely deceptive to how the game plan is. Medivh the Guardian, that's normally a slow defensive card. Some people run Antonidas too, and then when you see Antonidas, it's like, well, you know, I'm trying to get extra damage in, but people confuse that for a slower deck. And that's a third way for Mage to play, on top of Freeze Mage, Quest Mage, Secret Mage.
I think Mage is definitely one of the most open decks, and I think historically it's been so. And a lot of that just stems from the fact that you have aggressive mages with Mana Worm, and you have Freeze Mages with Alex Strauza. They're very polarized style of game plans, and even though they operate on a similar idea, which is just assemble a lot of damage and burn your opponent out, they get there in very different paths. And that's what makes it so difficult to prepare for, as you were mentioning.
I do want to point out that I do feel like a big reason for diversity, and this is going to be a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I'm going to throw it out there. I think that Ice Block is actually very crucial for Mage to be able to have the diversity of playstyles like that. As you can see, Ice Block was actually key for some aggressive mage decks in the past. They used to play an all-out aggro mage. This is when they played Leopard Gnome. They played Ice Lances and Cold Light Oracles and Frost Nova. They even played Ice Block in that deck list. And it helps them be able to get to certain playstyles, but they also don't need it necessarily for like the traditional tempo mages. And there's a lot of people calling for Ice Block's head right now, saying we want it to be rotated to the Hall of Fame. It's very uninteractive. It requires Eater of Secrets and other, very silly binary cards in order for you to get past that game plan and interact with it. But what it does allow Mage to do is build it a lot of defensive ways that introduces a lot of versatility to the class. So as much as Ice Block is a very controversial card right now, and a lot of people calls for it, and honestly, I think I would like to see it rotated out to the Hall of Fame eventually, I do feel like it does enable this kind of diversity that we're not used to seeing.
I agree with you to some extent. And I disagree with you to some extent.
Sure.
I personally would like to see Ice Block proc on the damage that you take, and it makes you immune for the turn. So anytime you would take damage, instead you become immune for the turn. To me, that's what Ice Block is that emergency tool that you're finding at the very end.
So it's not lethal damage, just any damage.
It's any damage. So that way you have to set Ice Block on the turn you're going to take lethal damage, but that it will protect you from anything in that instance. So it takes away a lot of the combo potential that Mage has, but then maybe you can make some more dangerous-looking Mage cards because they can't preemptively set up Ice Block.
Well, because part of the problem of rotating Ice Block, and this is the last we'll talk about it, and then we'll focus on the game, is that you have to introduce a different card then to give those defensive mages a style, but you have to introduce something that powerful as well, and then it kind of introduces this complex design problem.
And as we were talking about throughout yesterday, and we alluded to today, this is not Murloc Paladin. This is Control Paladin instead.
Yeah,
and this matchup can get really weird in a lot of spots. I think Virtus.pro, we saw the 2 Forbidden Healings in their opening hand that they threw away. That card is, or I think it was 2 Forbidden Healings. Maybe it was Wild Pyromancer Forbidden Healing. Either way, that card provides a lot of staying power for getting through the amount of burn that's there. Let's listen to Planet Odd and see what they're thinking this Paladin is early on.
Yeah, Bunny
just keep it in mind.
Paladin, but I think like Bunny would play the Control Paladin.
I mean, they could just mess with people, but yeah, I think it's Murloc very much. So just keep in mind that it's not.
Isn't opponent Neyman?
Yeah, but I mean, they could still just like give it to Neyman because otherwise it's so easy to make the read or something.
I wonder.
Like.
But I think this deck is really, really good against Control Paladin.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's Murloc as well. Just see.
Okay.
For the IQ.
We just Spellbender, yeah.
We also didn't show them Spellbender, we just showed them counter spells, so. Good to do. Wait, we got face, right?
What about the free reduce 1 attack?
Yeah, we trade here.
No, wait. Like, I think Aldor we just valid ping.
What about Wellingly? Like if you trade, he doesn't have any good 5 for Wellingly. We trade.
Yeah, we trade.
Like the only reason not to trade is like.
I mean, that's to get 2 damage in.
Counter spell.
I mean, the reason not to trade is getting 2 damage in.
Yeah.
It's not like
if it's a counter spell, I want to activate the coin with the coin.
Yeah, but you can do it afterwards.
Well, it might be an Ice Block.
Might also be Ice Block.
I mean, if he valeted, do you care?
No, actually, that's right. We don't actually care.
If you what?
If he plays Valet, we don't care really.
Okay. So 6 mana, right?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably never playing the card though.
I think we still play Crystal Runner here, right?
I think just the Crystal Runner now. Like, if we didn't draw the Bully, we would be implied to like secret into secret valid to play it for 0 mana next turn, but since we're another play on 5, it seems good.
Counter spell in the middle if he's using one.
Just play town.
Yeah, I think you just play Infested Tauren.
I should have checked.
So a couple things are happening here. The first is that the Infested Tauren indicates that this might not just be any kind of control paladin. It might be the Zod paladin.
Yeah. And while that's fairly common for control paladins to be in, Infested Tauren is about as close to a dead giveaway to me as it gets. I mean, there's not really much of a reason to play this card if you are not playing N'Zoth.
Right, and it also does change a little bit of the tool set that you have to expect and things that the Secret Mage should play around. The second thing is that Planet Odd, at least Hoy was saying, I think this deck's actually really good against like control styles of Paladin. And it's interesting because, you know, that's one of those pros opinion that goes against the data. It's one of those experts versus mass sample size. And, you know, how do you actually weigh that? And I guess it could be a mixture of the fact that they know the matchup, or maybe their deck is teched well against these kinds of style decks.
My opinion is always controversial on this, where I think that this style of deck is the kind of deck that you end up playing on ladder when you're not really paying too close attention to only your win rate. On ladder, playing this style of mage is not the best deck that you can play. And in fact, I don't even think it's in your top 5. So the kind of player who's willing to play this on ladder inherently is also willing to just simply lose more games. They just want to play mage. Nothing wrong with that. But when you start factoring that into statistics, what ends up happening is you're having a player who, rather than focus solely on their win rate and as a result refine their play to as close as you can possibly be, is making suboptimal plays. And they're not pressuring at the right times, they're not closing in on windows, they're using resources fairly inefficiently. And to me, that's the difference between the professionals and people who are just good on ladder, is the professionals hone these matchups and they pay very close attention to how each tool works in each situation.
So you're saying that you agree with Hoy, you think that this is good against control paladin?
I don't think it's like good, but I do think it's slightly favored.
Well, we'll see. I do think that control paladin has tools to beat everything.
Yes.
I do think it is draw dependent though.
Mage is very much that same vein though.
Yeah, I mean, but Mage has a lot of game plan that can deviate from it. That's why people used to compare it, Secret Mage, to like the modern version of Tempo Mage.
This is starting to get scary.
Yeah. And this is like a perfect way to make sure that your opponent's Terram is awkward, that they don't have a good play.
Ooh, that's way too early. And that's Counterspell that is down for...
Is it Counterspell? I think it's Spellbender.
Is it Spellbender?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, yeah, it is.
They've already tested for Mirror Entity. They don't know if it's Counterspell or Spellbender, and that's actually something that 6-0 pointed out. Which, by the way, do want to point out that 6-0 made that amazing read that it was Control Paladin from the very get-go. Yeah. He was saying, you know what? They passed on turn 1, and they, like, mulliganed all their cards, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I know Bunny Hopper likes to play Control Paladin. I think they're playing Control Paladin. And, of course, they made the joke that they have 140 IQ, but I don't doubt that it's too far off the mark.
Yeah, let's listen to Planet Odd and see what they're thinking. They're at a distinct advantage at the moment.
Portal?
Wait, don't you trade the bully in Portal?
I was like, do you want a Portal or do you want a Paris?
Portal.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to use my mana next weekend, Pyros Arcanologist or something. I want to use 7 mana this turn.
Yeah.
The grave buys you no rest.
Can you play around Primal Drake here?
I mean, if I coin, it gets... Oh, actually, no. It doesn't get counter-spelled. You don't have to counter-spell.
Yeah, maybe like we also play around Welling Blade.
Sure.
I'm like,
I guess Primal Drake is really bad.
Like styling one kind of.
I like Tatum. Yeah.
Makes it 6-6 look better, right? But we don't really care. Because it's this counterspell, yeah.
Ungoro belongs to the Titan.
One of the questions Admirable tossed to me during the listen-in that's actually very interesting was the Burly Bully usually supplants or supports the Archmage Antonidas package to, you know, have ability to get burned. And sometimes you see Secret Mages even play Mana Bind. In fact, I believe Hoy did this exact thing during the Spring Championship, Spring Playoffs, which helped him get to the Spring Championship and win that, which is why it makes sense Hoy's piloting this deck. But we saw Medivh the Guardian, so perhaps they have either both, or maybe there is no Archmage, and that's quite the mix-up.
There's like a Jaina, and you're looking for like a Jaina coin activation on that turn.
And then, is it even like a Secret Mage at that point? I guess it still is, technically.
It has a lot of secrets in it, but like Secret Mage to me generally infers like you're going all in to pressure with secrets early on. Like that's your main goal. And so I think like Kirin Tormage really comes to mind there.
True.
And this deck clearly is lacking Kirin Tormage, at least for now, from what I've seen. I don't really know where it fit at this point. Something I do want to talk about though is, again, as the situation has grown tougher and tougher, Virtus.pro, you can hear their spirits dip a little bit, where they're starting to go, we're not really gaining footing in this matchup. We're still one step behind. Playing it odd, they're just staying on point and keeping a level head. You heard Surrender point out Primordial Drake going into the turn where they wanted to trade in Burly Bully. I think it was a great spot for him. Even though they wouldn't have gotten punished by it, that could have been a big hit.
But I think the worst part of this game is over. You're usually worried about Mage overrunning you by this point in time where if you play Tyrion, it doesn't matter because they kill Tyrion and kill you. Now they actually have serious game plan. We've had Infestatorin and Tyrion die, and I'm looking for any other death rattles.
Well, Tyrion's still on deck right now, but it's set up to die. No polymorph available.
And let's say you're able to get Loot Hoarder down too, but if not, even just Nizaz summoning those two minions alone is incredible value.
Yes, and that doesn't have to come immediately. Virtus.pro has squelched the assault, and so they have a lot of time to work with here. So for playing it odd, this is going to come down to finding some of their heavier scaling and trying to keep pressure going the entire time. Virtus.pro has still not checked the secret yet, so they do not know what this is. It could very easily have been the full range they've seen so far. And I'm curious if Planet Odd's going to try to compound this with the Counterspell. I mean, they have 2 copies of Counterspell now. They have Ice Block. You don't typically want Spellbender and Counterspell at the same time, though.
Yeah, because the spell that would be used to benefit your Spellbender target would also be Counterspell, like Blessing of Kings.
Big turn coming up. Let's listen to Virtus.pro and hear how they want to take on this board.
This one. Yeah.
You play it now.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep Equality coin, right?
Yeah, I think you just coin, yeah.
I start with the coin, then Hydrologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then play Loot Hoarder, yeah. Another, no, wait, I can play...
No, you go coin, Equality Consecrate.
And play...
Yeah, okay, you're still Equality. Equality?
Right.
Then you play the Hydrologist?
Do you?
Yeah, because it's Mirror Entity.
Yeah, okay.
So you play, I think Getaway Code is fine. I'm not sure. Repentance might also be good.
Move quickly.
Yeah, for the current.
Okay.
Ice Block and...
What?
No, you consecrate and you play Loot Hoarder. Yeah, Spellbender and Ice Block. Oh, now I lost track if he played the... He still has one more secret. So he plays the 10-10 now. Yeah, whatever.
No, I play my turn, right?
Wait, what? Wait, no. Why don't you want an extra card?
What?
You can bump the Loot Hoarder in and then resurrect the Loot Hoarder. That's a death weapon.
Do you want to?
I already played it, okay, yeah.
You want an extra card for sure. Like 100% you want an extra card. Over 2 damage? What's better, 2 damage or an extra card?
Okay, just say it.
It's more than 2 damage.
I did.
Say it before play.
I did.
What to do?
I said wait.
Man, I wish I could be ahead enough to be able to argue about 2 damage versus a card. I mean, I get what they're saying. Like, it's a little bit of a communication issue.
They play so fast.
They play fast because they realize they're in a really good spot.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how you cut this cake here, or how you cut it, you slice it. No matter how you slice it.
No, cut the cake, yeah.
Well, yeah, you also cut cakes. Yeah. Or however the cookie crumbles, or how, you know, however you want to slice it.
However the cookie slices, however you want to crumble it. Kirin Mage is in here, by the way.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes that's going to mean no polymorph available. And to me, the Kirin Mage is really the nail in the coffin here, where Planet Odd is severely behind. They needed to be able to take care of second Tyrion, and instead they're just under the threat of too much damage. So from this point, not being able to handle Tyrion sufficiently is really what put Planet Odd behind in this situation. You know, the game plan could have changed. Say they drew Medivh, say they drew Archmage Antonidas. Those could have changed things. But without those draws, we haven't even seen Archmage yet. They're really in a tough spot. The Pyros has been doing a lot of work, but the N'Zoth is just too much pressure.
And Virtus.pro can just clear. They don't even have to necessarily go for the 2-turn lethal setup, considering how far they're ahead. They have Forbidden Healing to get out of range. They have another Hydrologist to activate second counterspell, so Forbidden Healing can get maximum value. They're in prime position to do everything. They could just actually hero power pass for next turn and still win.
Yeah, I like just going for face here with the Ashbringer, too. I mean, Planet Odd's not going to have a way to heal themselves unless it's Alexstrasza. You have True Silver Champion in hand. You have the board pressure rolling.
Right.
This is too much to overcome at this point. Planet Odd feels like they still have a chance here. And I don't blame them either. I mean, Mage can get out of some really, really weird situations, but this one is
one of the hardest to get out of.
This is definitely the major uphill battle.
I mean, Flame Strike stabilizes a little bit, but you still leave behind a small token.
Ooh, that's... So they're favoring the extra board presence. Yeah, this is a pretty desperate play, but...
Yeah, and because you know, they don't really have much better choice. They'd rather be popped at 2 than 1.
Well, they're getting popped at 1 here. Ashbringer.
Oh, you're right. Because the Ashbringer attacks too. I was thinking the 2 token, but you're right.
This does prevent them from compounding the issue with Primordial Drake. Because they want to kill the 4-1, but they don't want to kill their own 4-2. Kind of a clever use of play, but again, just the damage is too much in this spot.
Yep, it's largely been determined ever since Virtus.pro, in my opinion, survived like turns 4 and 5, where like Mage couldn't really push through, and they were able to set Infestatorin up, Terram to stabilize against bullies, and then land a Tyrion. The moment Tyrion dropped, I think it was game over. Just because when you have Tyrion into N'Zoth and just be able to get Sentiment back, even just Tyrion alone,
30 damage on the
Ashbringer.
Ashbringer.
Way too much.
Yeah.
And Control Paladin actually has a win condition. Normally, Control Paladin can't win without something like that, but Tyrion N'Zoth into Tyrion is absurd.
Yeah, Ice Block no longer available for Planet Odd. Facing down the weapon, they're going to see if they can clear everything here. Tundra Rhino does give them a clear and a Frostbolt to face.
Well, they can't have enough mana.
Yeah, dead on board. 4-4 now. Virtus.pro takes the game. You know, you heard a little bit of dissent there when they started arguing over that loot hoarder. I mean,
I don't think it's anything serious. It's just more of like a, hey, just make sure next time you communicate to me. And the guy's like, yeah, I was trying to say it, but I didn't get a chance to. You played too fast. And it's just, they still won. All right,
just focus.
You win.
Just focus.
You beat a matchup that's supposed to be even on paper, and you're not guaranteed, and you're able to sneak in a win. Like honestly, I think Control Paladin in a tournament like this is a little cheesy in the sense because everyone expects Murloc Paladin, and you're trying to surprise your opponents more than anything.
It's part of cards.
And what's really funny too is that Planet Odd actually even called it out before the first card was played from Paladin. They said, I think that's actually a Control Paladin. They made the read, but yet because their Secret Mage has a fairly linear game plan for the first half stages of the game, they weren't able to do anything about it.
And look at the contrast from yesterday where we were seeing, you know, a deck rack up 3 wins in a row. There has been 8 different class wins on the sides of this. No deck has gotten 2 wins in a row.
Look at that match history bar that we see on the bottom there.
That's a stark contrast from what happened yesterday. Even the decks are a bit of a contrast.
That's right. The mages are different.
Shaman's
I'm pretty sure Paladin's going to be different. And
Paladin has been different.
One chose to bring Warlock, one chose to bring Hunter. So we're starting to see the difference in ideologies.
Shaman ban.
And why a lot of people are excited to play in tournaments for Knights of the Frozen Throne, especially post 9.1, because the field is very open. So we're going to take a brief intermission. When we come back, we're going to find out the conclusion of Planet Odd versus Virtus.pro.
Who's that pro? Why would they try to trick us? Like, that's... Oh boy, they really got us with that trick. Boy, man, oh boy, they got us. It's dog. Why would they try to trick us? Like that's. Oh boy, they really got us with that trick. Boy, man. Boy, they got us.
You guys seeing this?
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Trinity Series Season 2, presented by ESL, Twitch, and Intel. Big shout out especially to Intel. And we're getting ready for game number 9 between Virtus.pro and Planet Odd Esports. Both teams kind of going tit for tat, volley for volley, and now we're coming down to the final best of 3 here. As I mean, it's technically best 11 still, but if you think about it, there's only 3 games that can happen maximum. And the last couple of classes, we have Control Paladin up currently for Virtus.pro. How does Planet Odd answer it?
Well, they have Warrior and they have Paladin remaining. So I am curious to see if Control Paladin is on the side of Planet Odd here as well. We've been seeing a few curveballs here and there. But I'm really curious about the Warrior itself. Pirate Warrior, I think, took the biggest hit of all the classes that were out there. In addition to Galaka Crawler getting stronger against it because it got slower, you also took a hit with Fiery War Axe. And here, with the Scourge Lord Garrosh in hand, that is a dead giveaway that they are not anywhere close to an aggressive deck.
I mean, still 12 damage to the face.
Well,
for 8 mana.
If you're me.
Yep, and I think there's a couple of ways they could have gone about this. You've seen some people play
I'm
defensive
really,
slow builds.
I'm really surprised they didn't keep Scourge Lord Garrosh in the opening hand here. I mean, this is a slow matchup, and that's a great card in this matchup.
It is, especially when you line it up against the hero power of Paladin, but I think it's more important to get card draw and be able to get those, get the synergies going with Sleep with the Fishes and Battle Rages, and a big portion of it is making sure you can set up for the fatigue stages. So let's go ahead and listen in to the teams as we get game number 9 underway.
Yeah, but not if you have a Pyromancer.
If you have Hydrologist, you would gonna play it.
But there's no way they're hitting face.
No, but I mean, there's no way they hit face if we just pass the Nativo powers. So it's not like we can make them damage us.
Doesn't Fatigue Warrior play Armor Smith?
Doesn't really matter.
I mean, you play Stonehill Defender, yeah, and it doesn't really matter because you mulligan everything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hit face. Charim, right?
Why not?
Oh wait,
we have to kill him eventually. Like Fatigue Warrior, we can't. So you have to hit face.
Charim, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Charim,
sure
right?
Is good. Tarim is good, I think, yes.
No, you don't hit face because of Battle Rage.
Wait. But we have to kill them anyways at some point.
I'm not gonna hit face because of Battle Rage.
It's gonna be
Wait.
Control Warrior.
But right now, 1 mana, 1 damage doesn't mean anything. Battle Rage means a lot. I'm not gonna hit face.
Nothing.
Do we check in? Don't really see why not.
Yeah, I think we'll attack.
I think we play True Silver.
The weapon, right?
Yeah. Because if we don't play True Silver, his weapon gets just way too good. Like if we're Tauren, his weapon's just way too good. Now we take away his armor.
I'm gonna attack just once.
Why not twice? Take away all his armor.
I wanna attack once because
if he plays the weapon, he clears our board anyways.
Why would it attack twice if he has the weapon?
Yeah, because the battle cry of his weapon kills our board.
Then, yeah.
I think regulate whirlwind.
Never wait a turn. But like for the battle rage.
I mean, just battle rage for 1. He's not gonna attack.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let the pain speak to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll play it.
I think we play Kodo.
Kodo, right? Yeah, that's Kodo for sure.
Shut down his card draw. If he doesn't have enough cards, it can get really awkward for him.
Yeah.
Wow, some really interesting talks going on as we're starting to see like our first major disagreements amongst the players for Virtus.pro here.
Yeah, and I can see merits to both sides. One is denying their game plan. The other one is killing them. And
you gotta kill them at some point.
You have to kill them because otherwise you can't really win through the traditional means. Part of playing around things is because you have a way to win despite them having, or you have a way to win suboptimally. That's when you start hedging bets against certain things and making sure, can I win despite playing around a certain card? And if you're a control paladin, I think the answer oftentimes against a fatigue deck is no, because they want to drag the game out very, very long, and they have ways to answer big wide boards with N'Zoth plays.
Yeah, something that's really interesting to note is that in this particular instance, playing conservatively against Battle Rage really benefited Virtus.pro in this situation. They've only missed 2 points of damage as a result of it, and Planet Odd has been stuck with Battle Rage in their hand for a considerable amount of time. Now, the trade-off there is that your opponent will eventually damage themselves. They will eventually get to Battle Rage, but when does that card draw really start to matter? Is it early or is it later on?
It's a
tough question.
It's actually later that matters more because early is usually determined by how fast the matchup is. The more you can pressure the Fatigue War, the more they care about card draws so that they can stay alive and have the resources. But in the late stage of the game, having card draw is just as important. So that way you can continue to hit the infinite cycle and power fatigue your opponent. Like when you have like 8 Cold Oracles in your hand, that's when it starts getting like crazy. Well, it's never going to be that.
Cold Light Oracle's in the deck right now, though.
I'm assuming that there is. I'd be very surprised if it was just like
is.
the normal control. But when you have like the ability to chain Dead Man's Hands and Cold Light Oracles, Paladin can't really do much. They don't have any shuffle cards in their deck.
I think the Blood Mage Thalnos is also an indicator that Cold Light is in here. This is, a lot of times Fatigue Warrior and Control Warrior decks, they look somewhat strange because it's almost like they're just power cycling. You kind of look at all these tools, you're like, what is this deck supposed to do?
Yeah.
And what you're supposed to do is just use Dead Man's Hand to add a lot of additional cards to your deck, and then eventually chain together a bunch of draw spells so that you can just consistently answer waves of threats, and then eventually just get there because your opponent has so many less cards than you.
They're playing a game of Dominion. They just keep shuffling the cards back into their deck and playing more of their deck. Let's tune in and see what Virtus.pro's debating on this turn.
So I can kind of... Stonehill seems nice, right?
Yeah, execute this one.
Stonehill and then Consecrate.
I like playing. Yeah, I like Stonehill. Yeah, let's see.
Alright. I think I know what you take.
No, that's an auto pick, right?
Yeah.
Tyrion, of course, yeah.
The Squirming Tentacle.
Oh my god. Yeah, such a big hand. 10-card hand.
So, you want to Slay Execute?
No, I think we just Coin Garrosh, attack the 1/4. Maybe even just pass. Like if you attack the Garrosh, next turn you can execute, slam the 2/6, attack it.
Yeah. Okay.
What now?
He plays Tyrion next turn. You can't really use both executes. You want to shuffle one at least. So we'll probably have to ignore the Tyrion.
We can ignore it for a turn.
I guess it's just... I'm not sure if we attack with Garrosh this turn or if we just pass, but I'm kind of scared of weapon removal.
Yeah, I think we attack because of weapon removal.
Well, I mean, he can whirlwind, so. They just
So
like
Tyrion, he freeze, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like going freeze. He can't.
With the weapon as well, I think, right?
There shouldn't be any weapon removals.
No.
Huh?
No, yeah, you're right.
Oh. We execute SRAM, hero power, execute, right?
Really? No. Then we had a lot of executes left. I think we
don't have to use execute this turn, right? We can like.
No, I think the play like in general is hero power, slam the Tyrion, attack the Kodo, sleep with the fishes.
What if we like?
Oh, yeah.
What if like X-Light, hero power?
Maybe do we need sleep with the fishes?
Hero power fishes. Is that not enough?
Sorry, what?
Like Acolyte, hero power. Kodo, and then fishes. I'm missing something.
Okay, let's do that.
Let the pain speak to me.
Then you also save the.
We have to somehow get rid of those weapons to play our Deadman Sands if possible. I'm pretty scared of dying with no armor gain. Fuck.
How hard is this deck to play? The Warrior deck, of course.
Fatigue Warrior is really hard. And something to really take into prospect here is Grim Patron has been touted as one of the hardest decks of all time to play. The thing about Grim Patron is it had a lot of hands that kind of just won the game. Like, it had just powerful things it could do. Fatigue Warrior has a lot of powerful things it could do, but when you think about the future decisions that are possible with this deck, it's like my head starts to explode when I think about all the things that you can sometimes have to account for.
Yeah, so, and I completely agree. I think this Warrior deck is definitely harder than Patron Warrior it's ever been. I don't think it's as powerful as it was because Patron had turns where you played Deathbite and then you played Patron with Inner Rage and then you Whirlwind. It's like, well, congrats, you win the game.
Sure.
But there's no auto-win hands for Fatigue Warriors. What's a hand that you would say that just helps you win automatically? There's none.
It's matchup dependent.
And also, the probabilities vary so much with how much you're shuffling in.
Ooh. That placement... I think the taunts are supposed to be on opposite ends here. So that way they can only chip out 2 minions at a time. Now that,
correct.
So
that is true.
Unless they just want to direct the attack in a certain way, that's totally possible as well. It's little things like that.
It doesn't matter because of the hero power. The hero power clears the 2-1 in the middle, so then they should be able to clear
forces them to hero power, though.
I guess that's true.
At this stage, playing it odd, they need armor, they need card draw, they need the board clear. That's a lot of things to do. They don't have the armor right now, so when they're forced to draw cards here, that 2 mana may just not get spent on the hero power.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and tune in. This is some of the most interesting conversation you'll hear all day.
Shot get down.
Slam, right?
Yeah.
Do we play that top to get insert?
Choose.
Yeah. Then fish.
And we attack, right?
Sure. Wait, is it just that kind of right?
Is that good?
Quality consecration is little, right?
Yeah, but we don't have that.
I want to play equality.
What about
equality, Karen, and hero power.
Darin and Elder?
Let me think.
And attack phase?
Huh? Heap.
Yeah, that's better.
Him Elder.
I want to play Karen for the next turn to have the Zod down.
Just attack in Beetle.
But I wanna use equality to hit 5 into the face.
You get hit.
No, yeah, you can do that also with Tarim and then Aldo. You like Tarim, and then you Aldo's
Why, do
minion.
you agree with equality?
No, I agree with Tarim, Aldo.
Tarim first.
Wait, I wanna...
Move quickly.
I want
Aldo?
Tarim. Yeah, you play Tarim, and then you Aldo his minion, and then you trade the 3/3 into his minion. And then you go face.
No, okay, got it. No, we don't got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So how do we do this now? We can clear with Secretary of Mana. Yes, we could weapon, hero power, execute, attack the Peacekeeper, ping it on.
And we don't gonna
ping
get
it on before we attack the Peacekeeper, obviously, but... Do you see better line?
No.
I do it? Okay, weapon, hero power, execute, ping it on, attack the Peacekeeper.
What now?
And then hope we get like another, and then next turn we're gonna go for Deadman's Hand. We need his hand to be like Pyromancer.
I must choose.
Reactive cast, like healing.
It's kind of weird now.
I think you just stand down in Zot.
Yeah, same.
I think so too, yeah.
I like, yeah, because he needs to brawl. Yeah.
I don't think you hero power. This makes you brawl worse.
Get,
you don't want this 1/1 to survive, right? You don't want to brawl. You don't want the 1/1 to survive.
No.
Hero power is bad.
Yeah.
Otherwise we can Cold Light, hero power, battle rage, bring it on.
Okay, but we're gonna Cold Light okay no matter what, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Bro.
Is relevant to anything here?
Bring it out first.
But we need like the bring it on in a deck, right?
I mean, yeah, shield block at least, but yeah. But we can't play Deadman's Hand, I don't think.
So we...
I must choose.
We just need to do something fast. I'm not sure how this works out, but we are hoping.
Wind.
Execute the 5/6.
Yeah.
Dan, this game is nuts.
It's nuts, but it's only because there's so much room for deviation. If you look at all the variations of Planet Odd's potential lines, 6-0 is, in my opinion, is a top 3 technical player in the world. And just purely off of experience and results, and because of his ability to craft. And he's one of the first people to call himself out if he's not playing it. And he's doubting himself mid-game, whether or not he's even taking the right plays, let alone retroactively. So I think this just goes to show you the difficulty of playing a deck of this caliber.
Well, I think any way you slice it, and all variations, analysts will agree, Virtus.pro is better.
He's in a much better spot, and I think there's a lot of credibility over to Virtus.pro's diversity of opinions. You can tell that they had a spectrum of ideas.
Yeah.
One said, I want to deny their game plan and play around stuff. One says, we ignore it and go phase. And I think they found a very happy medium that they're able to put on really good pressure. Oh my God. They had good enough draw with the Tyrion off. Actually, they had really good draw with the Stonehill Defenders hitting Tyrions. And now when they got the N'Zoth, it's just too much pressure. Planet Odd does not have Brawl.
What is a Cairn doing? What the heck?
Oh, interesting.
That is out of nowhere.
It's a golden Cairn.
I'd play a golden Cairn.
Actually, now that I think of it, all these cards are golden. Planet Odd does not have a way to win through the fatigue game. I think they're just in pure survival mode. Dead Man's Hand comes in. I guess they could win through just done man's hand
Both
shuffling.
brawls in the bottom 3 cards.
That's pretty unfortunate, and I think that's it.
That is unreal.
Maybe that's what they're mulliganing the Death Lord for. They can find brawls and draw.
Wow.
Draws and brawls.
Something else to note is that Planet Odd used their Armor Smiths early. And people see that card as sort of an anti-aggressive card, but man, that card is good in late game control matchups. Public Defender!
Interesting. Well, that Public Defender was a card that I believe either Dog or someone else was experimenting, and Dog was like, yeah, Public Defender might be
14
good.
damage at least available for Virtus.pro.
Yeah.
That's going to be game, and they take a 5-4 lead over Planet Odd. They have broken the parity that's been going on in this matchup. The first lead that Virtus.pro has taken in this set, and in a crucial game to do it.
Yep.
And now, with just 1 game remaining for them to take the set, they still have Paladin on the board.
And it's not just the Murloc Paladin that people are used to seeing, both in ladder and in tournaments. It's a control Paladin, the mix-up. It's a big change-up from what people used to see, and it's something of a specialty for some of these guys. Bunny Hopper loves playing Control Paladin. It's one of his favorite decks, and you can see why. He understands how to play against the fast. He knows how to adapt it to the slow. And I think also Dr. Hippie Naaman providing great insight. And again, this is why I think Virtus.pro is a very underrated team. You can look at all the accolades and Hoy and Surrender. By all means, it's very well deserved. But you can't really sleep on some of these other teams that are a little bit hard to predict.
And now looking at some of the fortunate draws that Planet Odd had early on, that fortune has turned around. Both brawls in the bottom 3 cards. Like that is
it's pretty horrendous.
That is astonishingly unlucky. But again, compare that to what they had early on, where they had the Lyra at the right time. They still had a ton of cards buried in the bottom of their deck. The Rogue game for me was really the one to look at, where they drew the second Vile Spine right on time to really push through. That was to me was like their lucky break in this one. And here, Virtus.pro gets the lucky break. Both brawls bottom 3, but this is not the only series we have playing today.
That's right. We have Team Liquid versus Team Love You Lots. Former Luminosity playing as the silver medalist from Season 1, featuring Muzzy over Frozen, who has joined our buddies TJ over on the farm. And we're going to see whether or not the American team here, I guess Dog's American, so Team Liquid's kind of a fusion of it, but it's a lot of dominance of European players in Trinity Series, so there's not many North American-based teams. Team LUL ends up being one of them.
I mean, they're a fine team, though. The number 1 and 2 points earners in the Americas region right now.
Yeah, with the most pronounced speedrunner in Hearthstone.
Chalky's very good at PvE.
You think I was joking?
I'm not. I do not think you're joking. He is very good at it.
He cleared the Lich King.
He also dominated the Blackrock Mountain challenge. That was that happened a while back.
He did the Lich King in like 2 hours and 34 minutes. He skipped 235 and went straight to 234.
Yeah, what a rush, dude. But that game right there, it really tells a tale. 68 damage in a single game from Virtus.pro. A nail-biter series where I think a couple of draws really could have changed the outcome. You know, looking at the Tarim discovery, looking at the Tyrion discovery as well, those are big pulls for Virtus.pro in that series, but they're fairly common. Stonehill Defender has a pretty high rate of that happening, and the pressure they were able to really put on alongside the N'Zoth, showing why it's so important that even as a control deck, you have a spot where you turn the corner. If that game goes the full distance, Virtus.pro's not winning. They have to be able to shut the window right when they have their first opportunity.
And it's also the usage of the resources as well. We've seen Virtus.pro play Wild Pyromancer on 2, for example, just to try and get some semblance of board tempo and try to reduce the amount of pressure that comes at them or fight for their own pressure. So let's go into Murloc Paladin versus Control Paladin. This is a matchup we actually saw a lot at the beginning of Journey 2 on Goro. And, you know, we haven't seen it really since. Honorable, you're already shaking your head. Is it because of the Stormwatcher Corpse Taker being drawn here?
It's also the N'Zoth Tarim Consecration draw on Virtus.pro side. Both teams right now have some pretty ugly hands, but I think in that situation it favors Virtus.pro.
Oh, yeah.
Because Planet Odd needs to get off on the ground running. And when they draw the Stormwatcher in their opening hand, sure, later on that might be able to get some pressure going, but it takes away the Wind Fury pressure from Corpse Taker. It adds a 7-drop to their hand that competes with Bone Mare and competes with, you know, big coin plays later on in the game, say like a Coin Tyrion, for instance. Maybe even Curator, if that's in here at some point. This is a really awkward hand from Planet Odd, and I'm curious to see if they can find the lead in this game by a significant margin.
Well, Getaway Kodo helps them play for value, and it seems like based off the way the speed is going for this matchup, it's not going to be tempo-based, at least not for the current time being.
Ooh, nice draw.
There you go. Let's go ahead and start listening to the teams and see what they're talking about this early stage of the game.
And Corpse Taker is so bad against any weapons, so we don't do that right.
I don't think I played the stream and I think I just played True Silver.
What do we play?
So...
Do we ever go protect the hero power and like save the coin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The light dims, but we fight.
Reporting for duty.
No. So it's it might be some control paladin.
I think you don't attack, you just play.
So a bump.
Why not?
Do you bump?
I think you bump.
Why?
Why not? If it's gonna be, yeah, because if it's gonna be a weapon, he's gonna trade with the weapon and with the one. It buffs to 2/2, and we're not gonna be able to kill it if he plays the weapon.
And you play that because it's better. Always play cards from the top.
No, I play this one.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Winter is here.
No Wind Fury.
No Wind Fury, yeah.
No, wait. It's a control paladin.
Could be defensive paladin. But I'm not sure what to do with this. I would still play the Wicked Flame just in case it gets buffed.
Do I alder it?
I don't think so.
No.
I think
I altered the 3/3.
You think so? What do you do against Coin Steed?
Alder?
We look a bit too stupid against Coin Steed, right?
Okay. Yeah. So Wicked Flame and Hero Power.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
No, maybe Consecration, but yeah, Consecration can be better in the next turn.
I mean, we have equality in hand, right?
So Wicked Flame and Hero Power.
Yeah. I think we're actually gonna Sunkeeper next turn.
Yeah, it's also for no turn.
Boy, oh boy.
I find it so amusing for me, not necessarily for Virtus.pro or Planet Odd, that Planet Odd Star has been so abysmal that Virtus.pro is contemplating a new entire archetype for Paladin. Is this a defensive Paladin?
Defensive Paladin is one of the most popular Paladin archetypes there is, Dan.
Well, and I think what they obviously mean it's just a slow Paladin. It's not necessarily control, maybe not even the Zoth. If I see Righteous Protector and Corpse Taker, and I don't see any Murlocs, I might even start thinking hand buff Paladin.
You also don't see Wind Fury here, so
right. So I might. That's why I'm even thinking.
The
more
assumption isn't necessarily that Wind Fury must be in their hand. I mean, they've done nothing to be aggressive so far. So just thinking like maybe an anti-aggro Paladin is sort of the thought there.
Oh yeah. We've seen a couple of those hit the tournaments before. Just like a mid-range anti-aggro Paladin.
Yeah, Amnesiac played one during playoffs.
Very commonly known as defensive Paladin.
Pretty sure that's what it's listed on all the meta snapshots. You heard Virtus.pro say that they wanted to tear him this turn, but...
Yeah, tear him actually doesn't really help their opponents that much.
Doesn't really help them that much either, though.
Yeah, Cairn seems to be a little bit more appetizing. The Secret does introduce the idea of like, well, do we want to give them the Corpse Taker for Getaway Kodo? Because this is obviously a very poor redemption target, and I don't think Noble Sacrifice is very good with the 1/1 available. So if it is Getaway Kodo, do we want to give him the Corpse Taker as opposed to other better targets, or do we want to save it so that way he can't ever really like hero power and Consecration threatens it like a token?
I kind of like this play as oh my. I really like this play as well because it gets the Aldor Peacekeeper going. But something I am a bit concerned with is Virtus.pro's ability to start rolling their death rattles in a reasonable fashion. You know, if they just plow all their death rattles into planet odds favorable combat, then N'Zoth plays a recovery tool more than it plays an aggressive tool. And so that is something I'm keeping an eye on right here is when does Virtus.pro feel like they need to start turning those out? Because when they see this Bone Mare, they're still not going to have a clear image of what exactly this deck's doing.
Is it Bone Mare time, or do you want to perhaps play the Stormwatcher? There's so many ways for your opponent to deal with it. If it's not a quality, there's Peacekeeper and Sunkeeper Tearman, and all three happen to be in G2. Virtus.pro's hand.
That's the thing. I think getting Getaway Kodo on any of either the Corpse Taker or the Bone Mare is totally reasonable for Planet Odd. I think getting the Getaway Kodo potentially on other targets could be somewhat troublesome. And Virtus.pro's obviously shown the idea that they don't necessarily want to clear these minions, just keep buying time with the taunt tension that's building here on board. So Planet Odd's game plan and how they start to push through, it's very weird. I mean, this is a board state that I don't think I've encountered in quite some time.
Move quickly.
Right, and I think there is some value in keeping the coin, considering that they do have a lot of expensive cards. They might need to squeeze in an 11-mana play somewhere. So let's go ahead and list it in and see how these teams are going to handle this upcoming turns here.
And I think you turn first as well.
Wait, equality cons doesn't do much.
No. I think you.
But redemption, remember, right?
Yeah, it's probably redemption.
Yeah, but
then you want
still turning, right?
Yeah, but you turn first.
Wait, how about playing the Curator?
I like it more. Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I wonder.
Curator?
Curator? Keep a Curator?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna overdraw. No.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna overdraw.
We're gonna overdraw, yeah.
So tell him it is.
Yeah. Yep. Bump.
Why no?
What do you mean with no? Present.
What?
Bone Mare is kind of awkward. So
yeah, just play Stormwatcher. Yeah, Stormwatcher. And 3 coin here. Don't think we coin.
I wonder.
Clear this board, then we can play this and we could also, I don't think we coin it, okay?
I mean, if we coin, we can double 4-drop next turn potentially, but yeah, we want to play Bone Mare next turn.
Justin.
I think we just pass.
And why he didn't have it is because...
Oh wow, so they still have Windfear. That's a good one.
You just play Tyrion,
quality
right?
cons?
No. Really?
Maybe just play Tyrion?
I like equality cons in hero power.
What about Tyrion?
Well, what about Tyrion, yeah?
Would you play Tyrion?
I mean, what does this minion do against Tyrion? Like, nice win for you, bro.
We have bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I bump into 3-6? Into 6?
Probably no.
Do I bump?
No.
Probably not, no. Because even if he like buffs it, he has to get through 2.
No, I wouldn't, yeah, because he needs to activate the bubble, yeah, with it.
So we Bone Mare and double trade, right?
This is bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Maybe we don't trade. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
we just Bone Mare,
trade
kill the
this villain
3/7.
and keep the Divine Shield. Like, we lose to so many things.
Yeah, but like if we double trade, just kills it on board, right? It's a weapon. That's 2 HP. So I don't think we can do that.
Then it takes 9 damage though.
I think we just kill the 3/7 and ignore the Tyrion.
But you can still like kick Divine Shield into it.
Yeah, but then he doesn't get the weapon and doesn't kill our Stormtrooper this turn.
Like also like Elder Peacekeepers. I don't know.
I must move quickly.
I mean, of course in a bad spot, but I think if we do the double trade, we're just dead even if he doesn't have anything, so we have to take the risk and just probably play Murloc and pass here.
Just play both. Like we have to go all in anyway.
Sure.
Alright.
It's a Murloc.
Do we quality conk this or not? Cappuccino. Just quality conk this.
Yeah, quality conk if he doesn't hit. Probably, yeah.
And I think you can even play Rallying Blade.
There you go. That's it.
No, they
Directly
don't. This is the last match of the series. I don't think he did.
All right, well, I think this is the beginning of the end here. Planet Odd went for a big push and has been shut down by Quality Consecrate. They tried navigating through some tough turns, but I think the draws were just so poor for Murloc Paladin. And that's something that we've seen multiple times throughout the Trinity series, but usually it would win a few games before that would happen.
Yeah, and the fact that they drew their hand basically in the opposite order. The Tide Callers coming at the end rather than the beginning. All the big drops coming at the beginning. It's nothing went right for Planet Odd in this game, but that's just part of playing Hearthstone. There are failure rates in decks. Regardless of how consistent they may be, you will sometimes get beat. It's part of what makes the game both beautiful and painful sometimes, is that it is truly any given Sunday.
Well, and you compound by the fact that Control Paladin is an underplayed deck in general in the meta, and so there's not a lot of information out there. But, you know, traditionally speaking, again, if you're able to keep up with a lot of those early aggressions, if you play the slower variants and you have similar tools of like, well, you both have like defensive tools like Tyrion, you have Tarim, it does tend to favor the Control Paladin or the slower versions of those decks.
Yeah, typically, in order to get an advantage in a class mirror, you want to be like 2 steps faster or 1 step slower. 1 step faster is like the disaster spot where you're trying to get ahead and you just never get footing. If you're ultra fast or if you're 1 step slower, you usually will find ways to buy tons of value.
Yeah. You can just tell, like, by the sign of desperation, this is what Planet Odd has to do. This is essentially an all-in, but even from just the fact that N'Zoth can come back alone,
just look at the hands,
is enough.
Well played.
That's going to do it. Well played being tossed out, and I think that's going to just be the end here. Virtus.pro able to decisively win 3 in a row with the Control Paladin, and that's kind of impressive considering that Control Paladin is not a deck that we see ever, and I think it's something we have to factor in for the weeks moving on.
Well, a lot of the things to look at are some of its bad matchups. You know, you take into account Quest Mage. You take into account like Aggro Shaman, for instance, which Virtus.pro banned away from Planet Odd. There are a lot of really tough matchups for this deck.
That's right.
But its matchups that are good are extremely decisive.
And that's banned Shaman. That took me off guard.
That's really a big thing to take into account in the Trinity series. The double ban, the omission, the best of 11 series where potentially 6 different classes get played on each side. Those are the factors when having these pocket picks of Control Paladin can really come into play.
Yeah, and that's where you're allowed to play with the diversity of the meta. You know, a lot of times if you have to bring like the best 4 decks, that's pretty easy to do, but when you're asking to bring 6 and specifically curtail them to your double ban strategy, it adds a lot of dynamic. If this was a best of 7 admirable, we would have seen Planet Odd take the series because they were up 4-3.
That's right.
And then you saw Virtus.pro take 3 in a row because they found their time, their pocket. Where they Control Paladin can excel here. It's a curveball. They're not expecting this kind of pitch at all, and we're going to be able to take the series commandingly. And they got a lot more than they bargained for. They were probably hoping to win 1 or 2 with this. They took the rest of the series with it.
Yeah, again, Fate smiled on them in that Warrior matchup with the Brawls being buried in the bottom of Planet Odd's deck. But think about how different the series is if the Rogue drops the ball when Planet Odd got fortunate. Right. It would have been a reversal of fortune one way or the other in either of those spots. So it's a give and take sort of thing. Control Paladin, though, when it goes unchecked, doesn't have those combo matchups or those super aggressive matchups it has to face, shines like no other.
It just felt like things were leaning towards Virtus.pro's, both in just how the lineups were working out and how a lot of the decks were. Because you saw not just that early opening game with Priest versus the Rogue, where there's that miracle Lyra draw that was able to bail out Planet Odd, but there was also that Rogue versus Hunter game where Deathstalker Rexar was like on deck and was continuing to push out threads, and Rogue barely got exact lethal with Leroy Jenkins. Without that, they would have just been locked out of the game with non-stop threats.
Yeah, and if you ask my opinion on it, I think Virtus.pro gave them the opportunity. But there you get a look at the standings. Virtus.pro off to that 1-0 start. They joined Complexity with a 6-4 game score on that one. One more match this week to see how the standings start shaping up. Week 3 is really where it starts to take those big leads and really separate players from the pack. But that is just a wonderful finish for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, and even though Planet Odd today wasn't their day, I feel like they definitely flexed their muscles. They played a lot of different archetypes today, showing their capability of playing fast, playing mid-range, playing control, playing weird fatigue decks as well. And then we're going to see if Team Liquid and Lovely Lots can live up to that series, because I really enjoyed everything. We saw pretty much almost every class that we wanted to outside of Druid. No complaints there. And we got to see diversity within the classes. Control Paladin, Secrets Mage. Got to see a little bit of that Hunter as well. And I'm glad to see that we have things all over the board here.
We started to get a little of that emotion, too. Early on, Virtus.pro super joking and relaxed about the matchup.
True.
Couple of unlucky spots, and suddenly things started to get a little bit tense. Towards the middle stages of the match, they were having heated debates about, well, no, draw the extra card before you play the N'Zoth. I'm like, you guys have like a million. This is like already an embarrassment of riches. You need another card here. Like, there's some things that when you're in these passionate games, they mean a lot to you. You'll find yourself nitpicking over the smallest little things. I think it's a good thing, but you can't let it take over.
We're joined by a member of Virtus.pro. It's Bunny Hopper, hailing from Germany, but I think he's chilling in Norway. How you doing, Bunny?
Doing really well now. How about you?
Awesome. Why don't you just go ahead and talk to us about, how did you take the off season? How did you prepare for Trinity Series with your team, Virtus.pro?
Well, the off season, we mostly took a bit to relax and get away from the ladder grinding after the championships were over. And then for VP, we came together already 2 weeks ago. So one more, just discussed certain decks and made some spreadsheets on what our percentages against what to ban. Well, then Nyman arrived with the strategy of not banning Priest.
Yeah, that was crazy. Can you talk about that a little bit? Actually, just like, not necessarily, you don't have to go too much in depth, because obviously maybe it's a strategy you fleshed out, but what inspired you to like come up with this crazy thing, like not banning Priest? Because a lot of people were banning it.
Well, I mean, firstly, Quest Mage is really good against it, right? And then, some other decks also don't do like too badly after all against the Priest. Even though Priest can like have its nuts like starts, even in the first match it was really close for us with the Rogue. Like we were a bit unhappy about the Dragonfire potion that they get from Lyra, because I think if they don't have it, they just lose pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many crazy things that happened in this match. I really encourage you to go back and look at how the hands are shaping up. So much weird stuff was happening. I want to ask you about this season in Trinity. With you guys finished last season, do you feel a lot of pressure to perform the same way in Season 2?
I mean, we definitely want to get to the offline finals, but we know that the field is very hard, and it's probably even harder this time. And we also have like very big respect in front of the new teams that joined, especially Planet Odd here, and then Misfits, I think, are the two new teams. And we're super happy that we could win against Planet Odd today.
All right, so a lot of respect for their opponents. Well, congratulations, Bunny, on your first victory, and hopefully we get to see a little bit more Control Paladin or other crazy mix-ups in the future.
Thank you.
All right, so one of the brains behind the Control Paladin and also just being able to help the team a lot. I think Bunny Hopper is a criminally underrated player within the European scene, at least. Definitely always a threat, not only in tournaments, but also in the HCT standings. You might see him compete. But we're done. 3.5 hours later, we finally got to match number 2, Team Liquid versus Lovey Lots. And I think this one has a lot more.